that person, that being, your divine complement is yours and yours alone. So show up. Claim them. If you've already claim them more. Show up again. That is your person. It's no one else's person. Claim them. Claim them.
Yeah. If Jeff had a girlfriend and I knew that he was my twin flame, like unequivocally knew he was my twin flame, it wouldn't stop me. And I'm definitely not that person or what, that would, I'm not like a home wrecker. But this is different when it's your twin flame, because you're with my man.
They're the home wrecker.
They're the home wrecker, it's not me. It doesn't matter if they're engaged, if they're married, if they have children or a business together, it doesn't matter.
God will sort that out.
God will sort that out. But that's
your job is to choose your ultimate
twin.
Lover,
right,
and claim them.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're coming back. I appreciate your support. My name is Erin and I am fascinated by all things cult, true crime, and unique spiritual practices. On Tuesdays, I explore a true crime case, and on Saturdays or Sundays, I talk about a cult or extreme religion that I find interesting or needs a little more exposure. On Thursdays, I also like to drop a little bonus video for you of my choosing. It could be covering a scam or me sharing a story or perhaps an interview. So if you like content like this, please subscribe. I would absolutely love to have you here. Whoa, guys. Okay, so the Twin Flames universe story keeps getting wilder and wilder. And like I'm sure you saw in the intro, it kind of seems like toxicity is almost promoted within the group. And that was one of my biggest takeaways from the documentaries was, wow, they really want people to like go after their twin flame, like no matter what, no matter if they're married, in relationships, have restraining orders on them. So I wanted to dive a little bit deeper and I snuck my way back into the group like you do. And found a lot of concerning posts in that group. But I also went on a journey down an internet rabbit hole and I found complaints about this group as far as 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So that's where we're going to start. This is an anonymous Reddit post I found that was posted 5 years ago. This is a warning for all. Beware Twin Flames universe, Jeff and Shaleia cult abuse survivors warning. This comment is based on my experiences with Jeff and Shaleia after spending nearly a year in their community. The purpose of this thread is for survivors to share their stories, support each other, and warn others about the abuses going on within the Twin Flames universe community. I have seen them belittle and name-call students who disagree with their teachings. This is justified as meeting the students where they live, i.e. in hell, to help them grow. The offenses which warrant this behavior can range from a student spreading negativity warranted to a student claiming to know a twin flame in harmonious union outside of the community, unwarranted. So I take that to mean like, oh yeah, I know a twin flame couple. They found each other, but they've never been in twin flame universe because Jeff and Shaleia are constantly promoting that like their group is the only way to find twin flames unions, So if two people are twin flames and they're not a part of the community, well, then they're not real twin flames. And how dare you imply that twin flames can exist outside of their community? I mean, their business model depends on people leaning on them for guidance to find their twin flame. I've seen them direct students to write 5-star reviews for their book on Amazon and nearly kick out a student who mistakenly left a 4-star review. I've seen them tell students what their true gender identity is and then kick them out when they've failed to conform, like change their name, their pronouns, and their appearance. This is because they teach that all twin flame couples are a masculine and a feminine counterpart and are best glorified in male and female bodies. I've seen students kicked out, shunned, or voluntarily leave because they refuse to change to fit Jeff and Shaleia's template. Again, classic cult behavior. We've talked about this extensively on this channel, so I don't want to exhaust you, but I do have a couple other videos I'll link down below. If you want to understand more about the tactics, you can find them down in the description. I've seen them tell students not to take outside job offers or apply to undergrad or graduate school. When students ask why, they are generally told that it's not what they truly desire. So Jeff and Julia are saying that's not what you want, and that they should proceed with outside education or career opportunities. They will be learning the hard way to truly appreciate what they have within Jeff and Shaleia's community. Wow. Again, if it looks like a cult, walks like a cult, acts like a cult, smells like a cult, it's probably a cult. 2 of their students have had restraining orders filed against them by their twin flames. 1 has been to jail for violating the order. Notably, they have announced that they are the second coming of Christ and the king and queen of creation. They have also announced plans to open a commune in Michigan. This was 5 years ago. That just goes to show how long this was going on under the radar. And it's so deeply, deeply concerning. Like, someone emailed me screenshots of their group moving to Michigan, and like there are talks within this city on this forum online on Facebook talking about how this group is coming and they're bringing followers. It's already happening. It's so deeply concerning that that's really the final frontier, I suppose, of cult behavior, is getting you to move to a commune, because then they can really control you and get under your skin and in your mind. And that's when really, really terrible abusive things can happen. So if you're considering moving to wherever Jeff and Shaleia are in Michigan, please don't do it. Just think about it. Finally, it has recently come to light that the healing method they claim to have invented, which they call the mind alignment process, or MAP, which we are going to be talking about extensively next week. I'm really excited to have a psychotherapist be here to analyze the problems within mind alignment process. So stay tuned for that. So this method was created by Teal Swan. She calls it the completion process, and she published it in August 2016. In the fall of 2016, Jeff and Shaleia announced that Teal Swan is a false spiritual leader who is leading people to hell. Her works are not allowed in their community. In my opinion, Teal Swan's another cult leader, so be cautious if you are following her as well. So that was the one Reddit post, okay? And then a few people, honestly not that many, responded, but I wanted to read some of their responses to you. Now remember, these are people who were in this group and are corroborating the information we saw in the Netflix series that Jeff and Shaleia are now trying to deny in their current open forum. I'm glad to have found this information about Jeff and Shaleia's twin flame universe. I thought for sure I would be joining after seeing the first of 3 classes they offer for free. I felt mostly okay about the second class the first time I watched it. What I did not like about it was that Jeff was pressuring one of the men in the class who thought he had found his twin flame to have his twin flame move into the home of this man. This guy was clearly uncomfortable with having her move into a house full of men due to how they sometimes behaved. I'm assuming like the men. Not only that, but he had just gotten into union with who he believed to be his twin flame. So, yeah, that's one thing that I think is a little toxic. They really want you to like rush into your relationship. It's like Jeff assigns you your twin flame, then he's like, go fly out, be with them, move in with them, be together, get married. And it's like this really quickly paced thing. Because when you try to get people to make fast paced decisions, they aren't able to like pause, reflect, and see the red flags. You know what I mean? So it's very, very intentional, because twin flame unions have to occur for more people to buy into Jeff's scheme, you know? It felt inappropriate that Jeff would push for the 2 of them to live together in that living arrangement right after they thought they discovered they were twin flames. Agreed. During the 3rd class, the nice man that had been pushed by Jeff into having his twin flame move in with him had left the class. That right there was a big eye-opener for me. Jeff spent a good part of that class talking about this. Jeff talked about how this man told him that it was a money situation, but Jeff said it wasn't, as if he knows exactly how much money is in this man's bank account. He mentioned that he would have worked something out with him, but kept saying that that wasn't the real reason. He mentioned also that this man thought he was gay, and Jeff said that he was not, as if he would know better than this man did. Jeff seemed a lot more dictatorial in the third video, so it wouldn't surprise me if he had a tyrannical side to him. Yeah, exactly. Like, to imply that you know more about someone's sexuality or sexual preferences than that person does just because you consider yourself a spiritual guru is not just absurd, but it's another form of abuse. It's another form of him trying to force his control onto somebody else. And something I don't think I've done a great job of explaining or exploring is it wasn't just like cis women who are straight that were encouraged to change gender identities. It was also like gay people being told, no, 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 they're actually straight. Like this very toxic environment of Jeff being the one to dictate how you should see yourself. And that is inherently toxic. You know what I mean? So this Redditor continues. Jeff dictated with authority that you have to be friends first, partners next, and then lovers, as if everyone must follow that. No variation of that was allowed. I've become friends with on Facebook with some of the people in that class. I noticed that some of those people who Jeff said were close are still single. I think this Redditor means close as in close to finding their twin flame. Again, this is 5 years ago. 5 years ago. So these are the same complaints we're seeing today. Nothing has changed. That tells me that Jeff is very, very intentional with what he's doing, and this is all a part of his grand scheme. I don't know how old the first classes are, but what this said to me loud and clear was that J and S certainly are no better than anyone else at helping people reach harmonious union. I agree. In fact, I can even imagine them taking even longer than others, much less expensive programs, or even none at all, because they turn their students into brainwashed robots and slaves to help Jeff and Shaleia get richer. And they do like flaunt their wealth, Jeff and Shaleia do. So it's really disgusting to see that some people are saying, hey, I can't afford this right now. It's not within my budget. I'm in a difficult place financially. Even now, currently in the group, there are posts that are like, I have like 5 cents in my bank account. How can I find my twin flame without spending money? And those posts are like ignored, or sometimes people are told like, well, you'll find the money if you really wanted to do this. If this was something you really cared about, you would find the money to do. It's like they're shamed into being given the money. And that's unacceptable. As far as that nice guy I mentioned who left the class, I feel like I should thank him for making an intelligent choice to leave. He was the one who made me question Jeff and Shaleia's program and what they're really about. I also thank all of you here for the courage to not only step away from this cult, but also share with other potential students who are having doubts in their experiences. They confirm my suspicions, and I hope others speak out too. Exactly. This is why speaking out is so important, because within the cult, within any cult, you're discouraged from speaking to anybody else, even other people within the cult. Cults will often have watchdogs. So it's like, yeah, you might not go complain to Jeff and Shaleia, but you might complain to someone in their inner circle. And that person in their inner circle will report to Jeff, and then Jeff will come down on you hard. You know what I mean? He will like kick you out, tell you you're terrible, make you like prove yourself to him again if you go against what he teaches. And some cults even have it just like if you break a rule, you have to call that person out. You have to tell someone superior within the cult. That's how they control behavior. So that mentality makes it really hard for people to want to speak out publicly about it because they're so fearful of what could happen. They're afraid they'll get shunned. They're afraid in some cults they'll get stalked, harassed. They're afraid they'll be just like talked down to or talked terribly about. They're afraid their reputations will be destroyed. And so it's like, this is the mentality that keeps people in cults longer than they want to be because they're so afraid to leave, and they're afraid to speak out and protect other people because if they speak out, they get shunned or worse happens. So this is another Redditor. I got back in touch with my twin in May and went looking for answers. I found Jeff and Shaleia. I thought they were obnoxious, but I also felt like I was getting some answers. I joined their group and was promptly kicked out for starting drama. And honestly, starting drama in a cult could be like you asked the wrong questions to the leader. You know what I mean? And 5 years ago, the group was likely significantly smaller than it is now. I think the group has over 30,000 members in it. So I just can't help but wonder if like he or she had publicly said in the group or publicly asked a question and Jeff got mad at it because it poked holes in Jeff's theories. So he was kicked out for starting drama. They told me I couldn't come back until I bought their classes. So I signed up. I paid over $300 for the classes when I couldn't even pay my rent because I thought it was the only way to union. When my kids and I became homeless, I chose to cancel my membership with the thought that it would be temporary. Except that afterwards, everyone who had previously been supportive wouldn't talk to me. I was afraid to even post in the group. When my friend told me what was going on, I left the group immediately. I'd been having doubts about them already, and everyone said it was just a block to receiving love. That's exactly right. When you start voicing your concerns, then it's your fault. Oh, you're feeling resistant to our teachings? That must mean something is unhealed within you. You should probably do more of our courses and spend more money and get in even deeper. The classes didn't benefit me at all and were just annoying. I feel like I wasted all of that money on people who didn't care about me as much as they did their fancy cars and big house. Yep. Now this one is really tragic and it feels very predatory. This Redditor commented, "My niece got suckered into this cult. She has quit her job. They assigned a gender identity on her. I fear for her, and she has ADHD and is very, very emotionally vulnerable." See, I've had a couple people comment, like, I have no idea how people can get sucked into these cults. I have no idea how people fall for it. They're not falling for it. People are all born into this world with a different set of circumstances, and people day to day are dealing with a different sets of vulnerabilities. All that could make them succumb to the teachings of a cult, especially if you think the answer to your sadness, your pain, your discomfort is finding your twin flame. I'll link another video down below, the top 10 signs you're in a cult and the tactics used to get people sucked into a cult. They're very beneficial, especially if you don't fully understand the way people get sucked into cults. And that's a big intention of my channel, is to help more people within the general public to understand how easy it is to get sucked into a group like this. So please, when you're commenting down below, please be kind and understanding and gentle with whatever you feel like you want to share. They blocked me. This one's funny. Okay, we're gonna laugh a little bit because we're getting a little serious. We're gonna giggle for a second. They blocked me from their Facebook page because of a disagreement over my comment on their Halloween costumes of Harry Potter characters, Harry and Hermione. They strongly believe that Harry and Hermione are true twin flames. As a Ron and Hermione ship canon fan, I question their beliefs of what a true twin flame were on them. Instead of answering my question, they went against me by telling me that I am wrong and have no clue of a true twin flame journey. They acted like they were above me. I thought it was so ridiculous of them to argue with me about fictional characters. I mean, yeah, that's honestly pathetic and sad that they would get so up in arms. We're going as Harry and Hermione for Halloween because fuck Ron. Harry is Hermione's twin flame. Harry is Hermione's twin flame. J.K. Rowling got it wrong. So now we are going to move a few years down the lane, right? Down the road. So what I just shared was from 5 years ago. I believe this next article was in 2021 or 2022, I believe. So just a couple years ago. This was a New York Times article, and I'm not going to read all of it. You can go find it if you'd like. The title of it is "My Twin Flame Obsessed Ex Stalked Me on Vacation in Europe." And this is someone that was interviewed in a new podcast. The podcast is called Twin Flames, if you want to go check it out. I feel like this was outlined in the Netflix documentary, but it might not be the same person because it sounds like this is something they constantly promote, like stalking whoever you think your twin flame is. They're like, "No, this is a divine union. You must be with this person. You must be with them no matter the cost, no matter if you go to jail, no matter if they're married, no matter what." It's crazy. So it starts out, when William met Katie at Burning Man in the summer of 2012, sparks flew. They dated for a time afterward, but eventually William ended it, and then things spun out of control. Katie, not her real name, wouldn't accept that their relationship was over. William claimed that she sent threatening messages, relentlessly called, and seemed to show up wherever he was, at clubs, at home, and even in a European city where he was vacationing. William eventually got a restraining order, and after Katie repeatedly violated it, she was arrested. Still, she persisted. "She was trying to call me from jail," William said on the podcast Twin Flames, out now from Wondery. Not even sending her to jail gave her the hint. Bail for Katie was set at $150,000, and she was charged with 17 counts related to harassing, stalking, and violating the restraining order, according to the podcast. But a few weeks after she got out on bail, she returned to her Twin Flames classes. In a recording of the class that is played on the podcast, Jeff tells her, "You are courageous. You've been to jail for harassing and stalking someone and violating a restraining order. If someone blocks you, has a restraining order against you, they do not want to contact you." Jeff and Shaleia train that if your twin flame is blocking you or wants nothing to do with you, it means that there's a part of themselves that is unhealed. And since you and your twin flame are a reflection of each other, you're connected to each other, that means that you need to do a lot of extra inner work and inner healing, because when you heal yourself, you heal your twin flame. And if you heal your twin flame, they will want to be with you. No. If your twin flame or anyone blocks you, tells you they do not want to see you anymore, has a restraining order against you, guess what? They are not interested. If anyone, it shouldn't even have to go that far. If someone tells you no, leave it alone. Listen to the boundaries that other people have. That's what I mean when I think that this group cultivates toxic relationships. They say that you need to pursue your twin flame no matter the cost, no matter the repercussion. This woman had a $150,000 bail set on her, and she still tried to contact him because of her cult indoctrination. This group, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. So we're going to take a slight left turn and just explore one of the problematic posts that I've recently found within the current Twin Flames organization. This was posted, I believe, a night or two ago. This person says, "So the other night, I went out to a local bar for some relaxation after a tiring day. While there, I struck up a conversation with a guy. We only spoke for about 5 minutes, but there was something about him that caught my attention. Eventually, I decided to call it a night and hailed a cab to take me back home. As I arrived at my apartment, I realized I had the munchies, so I decided to make a quick stop at the nearby shop. I grabbed a bag of crisps and some mini cheddars, thinking they would be perfect for a late night snack. Little did I know, my night was about to take an unexpected turn. Just as I settled into my apartment, I heard a sudden banging on my front door. To my surprise, it was the same guy from the bar. I couldn't believe he'd managed to find me. Feeling a bit uneasy, I quickly closed the blinds and retreated to the safety of my living room. But it didn't end there. It turned out that he was going around banging on every door in my apartment block. Apparently, I had been receiving complaints from my neighbors about this guy, which only added to this strange and unsettling situation. Time seemed to stretch on as the banging persisted for what felt like an eternity. 2 hours went by, and he was still there, refusing to leave. I couldn't help but wonder what was going on and why he was so fixated on my apartment block. In the midst of the chaos, I couldn't help but question the nature of our encounter. Was this guy my twin flame? that inexplicable connection that people talk about, the whole situation left me feeling confused and uncertain about what it all meant. Eventually, the banging ceased and the stranger disappeared into the night, leaving behind a sense of relief mixed with lingering curiosity. I couldn't help but reflect on the events that had unfolded and the impact they had had on me. Whether it was a chance encounter or something more, it reminded me of the unpredictability of life and the mysteries that can arise even from the most fleeting interactions. This is so dangerous. And as someone who also makes true crime content, thinking that someone that is stalking you is so deeply in love with you that they might be your twin flame, and you're constantly taught in this twin flames cult that your union might be difficult, and if you think someone is your twin flame, it's an inexplicable feeling, and she's like, oh, maybe he's my twin flame, or maybe he's obsessed with me and that means he's my twin flame. No, he could have literally murdered this young woman. He knows where she lives now. Instead of her thinking, well, wow, maybe he's in love with me, he might be dangerous. He could be a dangerous person. You need to be careful. This is partly why teachings like this are so, so dangerous, because when you stop listening to your intuition, when it is telling you that something is off, it turns off other impulses in your mind, in your body. You stop listening to the voice that's like, alarm, alarm, red flag, this is wrong, this is bad, you need to get out of this situation. Instead, she's willing to potentially dive further into it or seek this creep out again. He just stalked you and followed you home. He knows where you live. He banged on multiple apartment doors. Doesn't that seem a little unhinged to you? But thanks to Jeff and Shaleia's teachings, this woman is like, well, maybe he is my twin flame. Maybe he loves me. No. Your twin flame, the person you love, would not do that. There are people posting in the forum asking what to do about their twin flame who has blocked them and they don't reach out ever and they're getting married the next day. What should they do? And the advice that they're given by like top contributors in the group are, I would just keep following them with the burner account. You never stop trying to follow your twin flame and get them to be with you. That is creepy, manipulative, strange behavior. And that is one of the things that I think is so problematic about this group, is because it really is teaching people to become the perpetrator. And we've talked about this before. There's a fine line between being a victim of a cult and a perpetrator. We saw it in Nexium, right, with Allison Mack. She was a victim of they're pretty similar, Keith Raniere's indoctrination. He got her, though, to do things to other people that she went to jail for. She became the perpetrator because he was indoctrinating her so deeply that she was unable to tell right from wrong anymore. She no longer had a true choice. She had what's called the illusion of choice, where there's option A and option B. And the cult leader wants you to do option A and presents option B as having some big consequence. Well, you could do this and be in good standings with me, the cult leader, or you could do option B, but I'm not going to help save you. I'm not going to let you come back to class. And then you think, oh, well, it's almost like you're given an ultimatum and you don't recognize that it's an ultimatum. So this indoctrination is making people believe that, oh, well, Jeff says that I need to pursue my twin flame, no questions asked, and I just have a crush on this person. I think they're my twin flame. I mean, come on. Like, feelings are so complicated, especially the feelings of like loving another person. You know, it feels different when you're infatuated with someone versus when you're kind of lusting after someone versus you're like, oh my God, I like love this person. It's like all this spectrum. And I think that this group is teaching you that like you have a little spark with someone, and because you have a spark with them, that means they're your twin flame. And even if they want absolutely nothing to do with you, that you need to pursue them at all costs. It's dangerous. It's toxic. And no matter what, I can't stress this enough, if the person that you are with is behaving that way or harming you in any way or abusing you emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, it doesn't matter if someone else tells you they're your twin flame. You have to get out. And this is the dynamic that I am fearful of. People are making huge life-altering changes, not just to themselves, their bodies, to their relationships they have with other people, to quitting jobs, to moving to be with their twin flame because Jeff told them that that's their twin flame. It's dangerous. And we have to talk about it more. And I know this is like my fourth twin flames video, but it's because it's something I feel like we are not talking about enough and we need to talk about it more. And so please, if you want to come forward and share your story, please remember to email me. If you want to share in the comments, please share. If you have someone that you're concerned about who's in not just this cult, but another problematic group, share with them some of this content. Hopefully, it will help them. That's my intention with this channel. I want to help people see the light and get out. And I also want to help people who judge victims of cults to recognize that these aren't stupid people falling into a cult. They're people that are vulnerable and just have a challenge set in front of them, and they're finding Jeff and Shaleia at the right time or the wrong time, and Jeff and Shaleia are presenting them with a solution, and they're believing in that solution. So throughout this video, I'll be giving you a summary of what the Twin Flames universe is, how it functions, as well as break down the common tactics that we see in this cult. And we see a lot of the tactics this cult leader uses, and I want to show them to you so that if you find yourself in a similar situation, you'll be able to spot the red flags quickly. Now, if you're a skeptic when it comes to cults, you're probably thinking, how in the hell can an online group be a cult? It's all remote. No one is trapped on a compound somewhere shaving their heads. But cults aren't just location based, it's much more of a mind game. So I want to make that abundantly clear right now. The human mind is incredibly malleable. No matter how strong or smart you think you are, you could fall victim to it if they get you at the exact right time. And I'm speaking as someone who fell victim to an online cult between 2020 and 2021, and I always thought I was too smart to fall for it, and newsflash, I wasn't. And no one is, because no one joins a cult. They join a good thing. All it takes is an event in life that leaves you feeling vulnerable enough for you to fall upon the wrong solution. And being in the age of technology, those solutions are often found on the internet. I want to set the scene for you. Let's imagine that you've just gotten out of a relationship with the love of your life. They absolutely broke your heart. Perhaps they cheated on you, or you'd been dating them for a long time, and suddenly, poof, they just disappear. They end the relationship. They blindside you. You had thought this was the one, but suddenly you're left alone, feeling broken and wondering, what did you do wrong? In an effort to find a solution, you may turn to the internet. Maybe you Google something like signs your soulmate is really your soulmate, or what to do if your soulmate leaves you. While searching the word soulmate, somehow the term twin flame pops up and you fall down another rabbit hole. I mean, the internet says that a twin flame connection is even stronger than a soulmate connection. It can be rife with drama and challenges. So you think, this must be it. This person must be my twin flame. So maybe you search how to tell if they are your twin flame, and suddenly you fall upon a website offering you a solution. You see a link to this website or a Facebook group called Twin Flame Universe, and this online forum guarantees that if you follow their blueprint, you will find your twin flame, your ultimate love, and you will be connected with them again. The two leaders did it, right? So why can't you? These two leaders are young, energetic, and incredibly charismatic. They shared their love story like it's a Disney movie. Jeff is an ex-Catholic with a business mind. He wants to be rich, but do very little to no work to get there. He begins posting vlogs online and starts to set himself up as a lifestyle coach of sorts, because new graduates who move to Hawaii on a whim just know exactly how to do life right, and you should definitely pay them for their life tips. Shaleia, she changed her name to sound more spiritual, more enlightened. Shaleia was already on a journey to find herself through New Age spirituality. She was also an ex-Catholic, trying to discover who she was, and she felt guided spiritually. So when these two began flirting online, they seemed to be a perfect pair. both seeking a similar lifestyle and spiritual growth to guide them through life. Their story was inspiring, and it became the glue that would hold together their new endeavor, Twin Flame Universe. They believed they were twin flames, destined by God or the universe to find each other through thick and thin, no matter what. Their pairing was each of their destiny, and part of that destiny would be helping other people find their twin flames by sharing their unbelievable story of union. They began posting vlogs about their relationship and how they found each other. And to help them connect more deeply with their audience, they opened the Facebook group Twin Flames Universe Online Forum, a place for other people to come together to find their twin flame. And I tried to join this group, but I don't think they let me in because I definitely have anti-cult stuff on my Facebook page. They guaranteed that through their teaching, anyone and everyone would find their twin flame. They guaranteed it. So, let's say you've found this group after your breakup. There are 38,000 people in the group, so it seems pretty legit. You've watched some Twin Flame Universe videos and you're feeling like you want to learn more. You're feeling vulnerable and you see that this group seems like a safe space to share your story. So you do. You introduce yourself and tell the group how you found them. You share the information about what happened in your relationship, that you believe this person is your twin flame, but for some reason, they let you go. Someone in the group tells you that it sounds like you are creating resistance around this relationship, because if this person was your twin flame and they don't want you, something is definitely wrong, because you're amazing. You're beautiful. You're fantastic. And if you found this group, then you must have a beautiful soul, because this group only attracts the best people. The first tactic has been used. These strangers begin love bombing you, encouraging you, and supporting you. And if you're feeling raw and emotional, what they say may be exactly what you need to hear. After the love bombing, there's the first, not so subtle implication that this group can offer you the solution, but you are going to have to do the work to discover that solution. Your twin flame is destiny. So if they are resisting you, then you are doing something wrong. You need to work on your own growth to help this union come together. This stranger, or perhaps even Jeff himself, suggests that you try the mirroring exercise on the website. This is the second cult tactic being used after love bombing. You see, they have the solution for you, and it's probably the only solution that will help you. So you find your way to the Twin Flame website, and that's where you find the courses. You see tons of courses available, all with the same goal, to make you worthy of your twin flame, or even find your twin flame themselves. The prices all seem like signs from the universe. There's a couples one for $222. The couple's angel number, signifying union and connection. This must be a sign that you're in the right place at the right time. There's a life purpose class for $3,333. 3333. The angel number that represents sign that there's a big opportunity laying ahead and it's time for you to make active decisions to change your life for the better. And then you find the everything package for the totally reasonable price of $8,888. 8888. The symbol of infinity and truly manifesting abundance and embracing spiritual growth. I mean, it all seems like one big sign from the universe that you're in the right place, that you are on the right track. But under the surface, this is a manipulation tactic that is being very intentionally used by the leaders to make you think that these are all signs that you must sign up for their classes. They've already, 1, love bombed you. They've already, 2, offered a solution to your problem. They've made it very clear in your mind that you need this group. This group will help you grow, and the leaders and the members of the group alike will be there to support you because look, they only want the best for you. And these spiritual numbers that all act as signs and synchronicities make you want to purchase the products more. I mean, you've probably seen this under every single spiritual influencer that sells any type of spiritual course. It's always going to be some angel number to entice you as if it's a sign that it's something that you need. Spoiler alert, it's not. We all just need therapy. Lots and lots of therapy. So you scroll your way down to the mirroring course, the course that was suggested to you. You maybe watch some YouTube videos because, hey, you want to do your research, right? Because you are a reasonable person who just wants to help yourself relate better to others. And you finally try the mirroring exercise on yourself. So, what is this, the mirroring exercise? It's an exercise in which you write down all of the things that upset you about your relationship or your current situation. So, it might be something like, I'm upset that my partner abandoned me. The mirroring exercise would require that you flip it all around yourself. So every time you said them, they, he, she, instead it's me, I did that, I'm upset with myself. It might read instead, I'm upset that they abandoned me. It would be, I'm upset I abandoned myself. Suddenly it puts all of the responsibility on you for what happened in the relationship. And this would be the first of likely several times that you are going to be gaslighting or brainwashing yourself into taking responsibility for something that wasn't your fault at all. This is an example of the T in Stephen Hassan's BITE model, which is the model of authoritarian control. The 4 pillars, I would say, of the BITE model are B, behavior, I, information, T, thought, and E, emotional control. This is a clear example of thought and maybe even emotional control, because with this mirroring exercise, you're actually slowly turning off your own intuition and your own feelings instead of having like a very grounded response to something like rejection, and learn to understand that there's nothing really that you can do to change the outcome of your ex wanting to break up with you, because you can't control other people. But this mirroring exercise forces you to take responsibility for every single thing that happens in your life, even if you had no real part in making that thing happen. See, Jeff and the leaders of this group are planting the seed so that every single time you start questioning him in the future, because inevitably you probably will, you're actually going to end up blaming yourself and questioning yourself. You're being primed to turn your intuition off. So when you get that red flag rearing up in your head, most likely you're going to be like, oh, if I'm feeling resistance to this weird thing my cult leader wants me to do, it must be that something's wrong with me and I should not question him because this is a me thing, not a him thing, not a problem with this whole organization thing. Do you see what I mean? So you're in this group and you've done the mirroring exercise. You share your experience and receive accolades and more love bombing from the group. And in that group, you see so many anecdotes from other people, other couples who have found their twin flame, all thanks to the teachings of the twin flame universe. You start thinking, wow, this group works wonders. It changes lives. So you decide, yeah, I'm going to invest in some coaching and online group classes. And then you get to be taught by Jeff and Shaleia themselves. And in both types of sessions, you're just constantly sharing what you're challenged by, because it's kind of like you're in therapy, right? It feels a lot like therapy. Everyone's openly sharing their traumas, their concerns, their anxieties, they're worried. But this is the thing. None of these people that are listening to you have any type of certification or education to be conducting these types of sessions, but you don't question anything. I mean, Jeff and Shaleia have propped themselves up as gurus, and everyone around you keeps enforcing that their way works. So you share, you don't question, you share and you share and you overshare over and over again. And suddenly you feel this intrinsic interconnectedness with these people. You share tons of what could be considered collateral with them in these sessions that are recorded to use later, or for the leaders to use against you later. And if you start to digress, they're going to call you out because they know all your deepest, darkest secrets at this point. Things you wouldn't normally share, but you've somehow begun to trust them. They've become your chosen family, or as Jeff would call them, your soul family, your real family. It starts to become difficult for you to relate to your real life friends and family. They just don't seem as connected as you. They question your new belief system, and they also question your behaviors. So let's say your ex, the one who you believe is your twin flame, gets involved in another relationship, and the group teaches you that if you have a twin flame connection, you need and should pursue that by any means necessary. So, despite what your friends and family might suggest, you call, text, DM your ex, you surprise them at work, you show up unannounced. You just won't leave them alone. They are your twin flame. They need to be with you no matter what. Even now that they're in a new relationship, you are not going to stop harassing them because the leader of your group wants you to harass them. He promotes harassing them. In the twin flame network, this behavior would be applauded. According to Jeff, nothing should or can stand in the way of a true twin flame connection. Not age, not gender, not time, space, race, if they're married with children or in a different relationship, different country, or if you have a restraining order, nothing. And if anyone disagrees with that teaching, they're a leech. Jeff begins to instill this belief in you that anyone who opposes his teachings or questions you isn't someone who loves you. They are not part of your soul family. So he encourages you to cut them off. No matter if they're your mother, sister, best friend of 20 years, they are a leech and they are only going to suck away your energy. And if they suck away your energy, you won't have any energy to give to your twin flame. Your guru or cult leader has successfully isolated you from the outside world. He wants to be your only resource for information. And this is the I in the BITE model, information control. And it's one of the most classic tactics. So by this point, you've been a member of the group for some time. You've invested a lot of time and energy into the group, but still don't have your soulmate in front of you. You see couple after couple be established, people move for each other, people get married, and you want that to happen for you. Then, one day, Jeff shares that maybe the person you thought was your twin flame isn't. He tells you that only he can channel your twin flame, and he channeled one for you. The twin flame should appear for you within a few days. And lo and behold, a random person within the group reaches out to you. You don't find them particularly attractive, but you just go with it because Jeff has told you that yes, this is your twin flame. This is it. You're then forced to share a testimony of how successful the twin flame universe was for you, even though you have doubts circling in your head. Jeff is successfully controlling your behavior. This is your community now. You can't question Jeff. This is your twin flame because Jeff said so. And this is who you are going to be with for the rest of your life. Jeff has found a way to control all of your behavior. It doesn't matter if your partner hurts you, annoys you, manipulates you. This is the one. And you can't question the leader. This is where you're stuck and who you're going to be with forever. You're so deeply entrenched in this group that it's become all you know. Perhaps you become a coach, and this group has also become your main source of income. So if you leave, you have no community, nowhere to live, no money, no income, and no family. You feel stuck. There's nothing you can do. You're in a harmonious union, the thing that everyone in the group wants, and you have to protect that at all costs. It is sacred. And that is an incredibly surface level example of how someone could get caught up in this particular cult. People are still in this group, despite the documentary and despite the negative impact the group has allegedly had on people's lives. But that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of how dark this group has become. So we've established that Jeff and Shaleia are the leaders of this group. They're really the ones pulling all the strings and coming up with these exercises to keep people in the group. On the website, they're even listed and pictured as the group's gurus. So if any group, any community, any organization has gurus, just run. Run, especially if it's a self-proclaimed guru. Just get out of there. GTFO. So, since these two were gurus, it wasn't so alarming to members of the group when one day Shaleia gets online with Jeff to share that she had a vision or she heard a voice. And that voice told her, and I quote, that the image of Jesus is in Jeff. And that's the image you've been looking for. Oh, okay, so we're basically propping Jeff up as Jesus now, all knowing. And why would they want Jeff to be Jesus? Was this purely for power? No, I think this was fully intentional. It's allegedly so that they could save money on taxes. See, under the Twin Flames universe umbrella, Jeff and Shaleia had created a number of businesses that were and still are generating for profit income, and obviously that income would be taxed. But they wanted to get out of that tax, allegedly. They had wanted to expand their coaching program to attract people who weren't just wanting to find their twin flame, but also people who had severe trauma or mental health struggles they were trying to solve. So they created MAP, or MAP, Mind Alignment Process, as a way to work through your childhood trauma. But really, it allegedly can implant false memories into the victim's mind. And of course, they would charge a hefty price for this reprogramming. See, the MAP practitioner would bring their student into a meditative state and walk them back through a traumatic memory in an effort to release that memory. But when a person is in such a meditative state, their minds are really open and they're very suggestible. Oftentimes, the practitioner would allegedly guide the student to discover that they had experienced some type of buried trauma, often sexual, at the hands of their own parents or family member, and this would then lead the student to cut off contact with that parent. So, yet another cult tactic. Unless it's with a licensed therapist, please do not do any trauma work or childhood memory work, please. It's a dangerous, dangerous practice, and you can't just dive into it willy nilly. You must do this with a professional who is licensed. I have seen multiple groups do this tactic as an effort to get you away from your family because they're basically suggesting that perhaps your trauma comes from some really, really traumatic event that your parents did to you or your brother, your sister did to you. And then you would obviously cut that person out of your life, but then who do you have to lean on to? Just the cult. This is intentional. These practitioners and coaches, these spiritual leaders on the internet, they're not licensed. And in this group in particular, they had just paid to learn how to coach people, and they were encouraged to continue spending money to learn how to coach people. One woman even said in the documentary that by the time she got out, she had spent $20,000 on her credit card because she had to be, quote unquote, a product of the product. The coaching business model had really begun to be run like an MLM or a pyramid scheme. In order to make money and get clients, you had to be a client yourself. So you may make $60 a session and have a session every day, but you have to pour hundreds, if not thousands of dollars back into the courses every month in order to stay active. And this is what the cult leaders wanted. They wanted you to be completely dependent on them and their group, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. This group had guaranteed to all members that they would find their twin flame. And that twin flame could be anyone initially. But after a few years, Jeff decided that the rules needed to change. Your twin flame had to be in the group because they obviously had to be as enlightened as you and they had to be doing the work. But honestly, I think it was because Jeff just wanted more people recruited into the group so that he could get their money, and or he had some other sinister plans in mind. As the members of the group began to look around the room or the forum, they began to notice that there were far more women than there were men. And simultaneously, Jeff and Shaleia had begun implementing this idea of masculine versus feminine. They began to argue that each human, regardless of their genitalia, was either 100% masculine or 100% feminine. There was no duality in this world. So you might be 100% feminine, but be in a man's body, and that actually meant that you were a woman, and vice versa. This would really help Jeff and Shaleia because as rules began to change and the people in the group saw how skewed the man to woman ratio was, group members were almost primed for what would happen next. Jesus, Jeff, and Shaleia claimed to have a 24-hour twin flame calling in ceremony where they would couple up several members of the group. And obviously, this was considered divine and made by God, or Jeff, I suppose. They sent this list of couples out to their other leaders and instructed them to have conversations with these couples and basically assign these twin flames. Many of the couples were two women who were both currently identifying as straight cis women. So, what happened next? Well, Jeff instructed his coaches that one of each pairing was actually the masculine. And if that person was the masculine, they were actually a male. So, Imagine that you're finally being assigned the twin flame, the love of your life, the person you've been waiting for. You've been desiring this your whole life. You've poured money and time into discovering who this is. And then you're paired with someone of the same sex who you just would generally never be attracted to you because you are straight and you've always been straight. And now you're also given your new gender identity. It's mind boggling. And remember that you're so far past the point of questioning this. You know what happens if you question your leader. You're instructed to change your name, cut your hair. You're literally told that you are transgender. Everything you've ever known about yourself before this moment is the opposite. And that this twin flame bond is eternal and destined. And if you question this, you're questioning God Himself. Luckily, though, this is what actually really woke some people up, thank goodness. But there are some people who went on to actually receive gender assignment therapy and surgery, all because they're a victim of this coercive control. Coercive control and brainwashing, and really just cult dynamics in general, are so incredibly and tragically misunderstood. People often blame victims of cults or otherwise abusive relationships and dynamics, and it's really just disgusting. If you don't know what coercive control is, it's defined as an act or a pattern of acts of assault, threats, humiliation, intimidation, or other abuse that is used to harm, punish, or frighten their victim. An example of this can be the public humiliation that Jeff forced his followers to endure if they ever went out of line. He would just embarrass them publicly and they would feel deep shame. Or another form of this could be the torture Jeff made his followers endure. Jeff once made members of his inner circle watch The Vow and Seduced, two documentaries that exposed the disgusting things Keith Raniere did to his victims, and Keith Raniere is in prison for 250 years for the disgusting things that he did. And Jeff demanded that his followers watch these and then write an essay on how Jeff is not a cult leader. But when a few members actually said, "Oh, hold up, wait," all signs point to you being a cult leader, Jeff forced them to do a 24-hour Zoom meeting where they were not allowed to move until they admitted that he was not a cult leader. Now, could they have signed off and just left? Yes. But remember, that would mean being shunned from the group. All your friends, your soul family, would block you. You'd have no income, no support, nothing. So you'd sit there and then admit that no, you didn't believe Jeff was a cult leader. You just want to go. You just want to go eat dinner. You just want to get off this Zoom meeting. You know, these poor people, they just wanted to find love, and they were all victims of this. Some of these victims who worked their way up the ladder have even become perpetrators at this point. And according to the documentary, the guilt continues to eat at them because now they are recognizing the pain and suffering that they caused or helped cause. Have Jeff and Shaleia felt any remorse, though? Most likely not. They're in defense mode, denying all allegations. According to the documentary, this online cult may be on its way to being an in-person one. Jeff, who, by the way, once minimized the Jonestown tragedy and once joked about becoming a cult leader one day, has expressed plans to buy a huge plot of land in Michigan and have all of his followers move there and work on building a compound for the group. He invited all the pairings and arranged marriages that he had made to move there and start procreating. But how would they procreate if several of the pairings were female? Well, Jeff would decide whose sperm they would use, and then those children would all be considered divine golden children, which sounds beautiful and spiritual and all that. And until you realize he's basically on his way to being the next, like, David Koresh from Waco, you know, we're going to go live off the land and I get to impregnate whoever I want and everyone outside the group is the enemy and we're going to live in this dilapidated shed in the middle of Michigan. If it looks like a cult, if it smells like a cult, then it's probably a cult, allegedly. Now, this is such a tragic story, and honestly, I've barely just scratched the surface of this terrible organization. But the goal of this video was to really try to show you all, the viewers, that brainwashing, coercive control, the bite model, they're all very real tactics used by cults and also manipulative people, and they can be extremely damaging. I mean, I remember being so shocked when I heard about women branding themselves in Nexium to get gender reassignment surgery. That can completely change the way you show up in the world. and completely morph your sense of self and identity. The way someone identifies is a very personal experience, and every single person on this planet has the right to experience, to discover themselves, and learn how they identify and discover what their sexuality is, what their sexual orientation is. I am a staunch supporter of the LGBTQ plus movement, and I hope that the people affected by this terrible group get the healing they deserve. And honestly, these leaders should be absolutely ashamed of themselves. Like, how dare you? It's deplorable. Now, ever since 2020, and probably before, let's be real, online cults have been running rampant. There are so many people out there who seek help online. So I really want to urge all my viewers to please use caution. If you're in need of healing, please find someone who is skilled and licensed to help you heal. Do not just trust some online guru. There are more out there. They're all over the place. They are just waiting to prey on you at the right moment, sell you a course for $444 or whatever. And this one's going to be $777, and this one's going to be $11.11. Just don't, I just want to caution everyone to please use discernment. There's so much false information online, and it's so easy to get into a parasocial relationship with someone after you've been watching them for such a long time. You just kind of feel like you know them, but just please remember that you don't. You don't know these people, and you can't just trust them blindly. This is going to be a little bit of a different video for you today. It's going to be unstructured. Like I said in my intro, I want to review and react to some of the posts I'm seeing from Jeff and Shaleia themselves and a lot of the group members within the group, and break down the things that they are doing that just further proves that this is a cult and they are cult leaders, and they are just vehemently denying all allegations and doing it in a way that literally every cult leader since the dawn of time has been doing while continuing to claim that they're not a cult. It's just the mental gymnastics these people must be doing right now. I just wanted to let you all know that I make true crime content on Tuesdays, and I like to explore a cult or a spiritual belief or extreme religion that I find interesting on Saturdays. And in November and December of this year, 2023, I'm dropping a bonus video on Thursdays. If cults, true crime, psychology, scams, anything like that is something that you find interesting, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you here. And if this is your first video of mine that you're watching, like I've said, it's unstructured, it's unscripted, it's mostly just off the cuff reactions to things I've seen, because I really want to show to my viewers and to those who are still in this cult or might be in another one or considering joining this cult to please not do it. Get out, because these are classic cult tactics. I'm going to go ahead and link my videos that I've already made on this group throughout the video. You'll see them kind of pop up here somewhere, and I'll link them down below so that you have easy access. And I also have just a bunch of other videos on my channel that might not pertain to this, but explore cult psychology and true crime as well. And I like to start off my videos by recommending a book. Once again, I'm going to recommend Don't You Cry. It's a fascinating mystery novel about a woman who wakes up one day and her roommate, who she's been living with for a while, has seemingly disappeared. So it's a very good book. Let me know down in the comments whether you've read this book, whether you like it, you hated it. Let me know. Before we jump into the hot topic of this video, I do want to express that it is all educational and for entertainment purposes only. There is a lot and mostly just my opinion in this video, and it is not meant to malign anyone from any group or organization or person or entity. So I just want to leave that disclaimer here. All of the things that I'm sharing and reacting to have been found online, and I have hidden the names of anyone who's not a public figure. So please know that I encourage you doing your own research. Everything that I say in this video is also alleged. It has not been found as true. So please be considerate of all of those disclaimers as you watch the video. Thank you very much. Whew. Guys, now when I tell you that I was not expecting to be added to this group, I really thought I would not be added to this Facebook group. Jeff and Shaleia are really working overtime to try to protect their group. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people still in the group. They've really built up a strong community around them, but it is starting to break down. And if the group is any inclination, this Twin Flames universe is starting to crumble, and thank goodness. They are behaving just like any cult leader would or has in all of history. They are inviting people to ask questions, but then are using very flowery, non-specific, word salady language to answer the questions. And if you call them out on this and say, you haven't specifically answered my question, they either kick you out of the group or they claim that you left the group, which I honestly think that they're getting kicked out and blocked. And they're doing all of this to save face. They're trying to make it look like, well, we promote critical thinking. We want you to decide for yourself. We never did that. Everything was taken out of context. And when you ask for context, they can't give it to you. I have not personally asked a question in the forum. I've just kind of observed and taken some screenshots. I am going to protect the identities of all of the people besides Jeff and Shaleia, since they are public figures, when I break down and go through some of the questions that I'm seeing in the forum. And I wish I could show you the names simply because it's very clear on Facebook. Like if someone has been blocked or is no longer in the group, their name shows up as like a different color, like a grayish color. And it says they're no longer in this forum when you like hover your cursor over their name. So it just goes to show that you're not really allowed to ask questions. And if you were, aren't going to get a straight up answer from them. So I went to the Twin Flames Universe Instagram because one of you guys commented and said that they had limited their comments. And that is absolutely true. They have limited their comments. All you'll see on their comments now are like hearts, and it says that all of the comments are limited, which basically means that anything that's not something they want to see is not being publicly shown. And anytime someone has their comments limited, it's probably because they're receiving a lot of backlash. They want it to be less publicized and they're trying to control any negativity towards their own group. Because I think, I could be wrong, but when you limit comments on your own post, I think you have to go in and approve the comments that you want to show up under that photo or video. And there are not many comments popping up. And if there are, they're just hearts or accolades. So that tells you something, doesn't it? I also went to their website and I wanted to read for you quickly their official press statement. And I want to remind you before I read this that according to the Netflix documentary, the producers reached out to Jeff and Shaleia for comment and they refused to comment. But now they're claiming that they haven't had an appropriate opportunity to make a public statement. So now they've made one on their website. I'm referring to my phone because all of this has been screenshotted on my phone. The Twin Flames universe responds to recent media articles and productions. We appreciate the opportunity to address several concerns raised in recent headlines and documentary productions about our community. Our primary objective continues to be the development of a community that is both diverse and inclusive, joined together by common values, principles, and goals. Well, if it looks like a cult, walks like a cult, smells like a cult, it might be a cult. Those who enter our community and become students are treated with love, acceptance, and support. This will never change, and we continue to love those who have moved on and wish only the best for those who ultimately decide to follow their journey elsewhere. Our organization is staffed by a multidisciplinary team of experts, including PhD researchers and educators from around the globe, all coming together with unique experiences and backgrounds. Each of us has dedicated ourselves wholly to ethical conduct and the welfare of our community. Do you see how this is like non-specific? Like a PhD, you can get we had a teacher in my high school and we called her Doc because she had a PhD in costuming. She was like a costume designer and she had a PhD. So whenever someone says PhD but doesn't specify what it's in, that always raises alarm flags for me. We'd like to emphasize that our educational content and methodologies are tailored to provide a unique path for both personal and spiritual development and fulfillment. We recognize our methods may not align with everyone's unique beliefs or needs, and we honor the freedom of individuals to explore other options they feel best elevate their spiritual well-being. We are devoted to ongoing refinement and welcome meaningful conversations with all interested parties. I'm sure you do now that you've been exposed, but it doesn't sound like from the footage that was shown in the documentary that you really provide an environment that encourages students to look elsewhere, considering there's a price tag on your methods and your methodologies, and you are consistently telling your students that this is the only way for them, and the only way for them to get their full spiritual enlightenment, and the only way for them to truly find their twin flame, which is destined by God / Jeff, is by doing their program and spending money on their courses and spending money on their coaching. But okay. We take seriously recent allegations implying we wield inappropriate control over our community members. Are you just going to flat out say you're not a cult, or are you just going to use flowery, word salady language? After a careful review of both media coverage and recent productions, we are saddened that so much effort has gone into taking swipes at an organization and community founded on love and mutual respect. I think it was founded on you seeing that people might be sometimes desperate to find a partner and you exploiting that. The allegations levied against Twin Flames Universe not only distort our true aims, methods, and curriculums, but also misinterpret the autonomy of our community members, who are free to engage with our resources as they see fit. We are committed to confronting these allegations in an open and accountable manner. What have you been accountable for, though? What have you been accountable for? You could have just come out and said, yes, we do believe that their humans are either 100% masculine and 100% feminine, and maybe we took it too far. Why can't you just say that? Because it means that all of the other allegations are probably true? Could that be why? I mean, come on. Twin Flames Universe will continue to foster an atmosphere of open discussion. We welcome constructive feedback. Just wait till I see what the constructive feedback is and how quickly those people are kicked out of the group. Or also the fact that the open forum where they're inviting people to ask questions has a series of filters because they don't want everyone to have freedom of speech. They're basically saying, come ask us questions, but only the right kind of questions. Only questions that we can answer with our flowery, pretty, spiritual language. Our unwavering commitment is to maintain a secure, respectful, and uplifting space for anyone who wishes to join or engage with our community. That would have been a really cool opportunity for you to actually take accountability or say why you didn't want to make a statement to the Netflix producers. Why? Because no matter what you say could implicate yourself? Could that be it? Now I want to jump in and explore some of the posts made in the Twin Flames Universe online open forum in their Facebook group. An admin posted this. Hello, everyone. Many of you have seen or be aware. I wish they proofread this. Okay. Many of you may have seen or be aware of the Amazon and Netflix docuseries currently circulating about our organization. We would like to express that Twin Flames Universe always strives to maintain the utmost professionalism, compassion, and understanding, and we regret that anyone would move on from our community feeling any sense of resentment towards others or any aspect of their experience. However, we do not feel that issuing falsehoods, intentional misrepresentations, and salacious stories in pop media is a constructive approach to dealing with any individual issues. It is not fair to the good-hearted people of our community, nor does it uphold the values of love and truth that we teach. We'd like to take this opportunity to have a dialogue about this and answer any questions. We are also happy to address any concerns. Please feel free to ask any questions you may have here, and we will be happy to discuss them with you. At the time of this screenshot, there were 642 comments on this post, full of questions and pseudo answers. I think my biggest concern with this particular post is that it's doing what every cult wants you to do. They want you to address any conflict only within the group, because if you speak out publicly about this group, this is what happens. They get backlash. They get shut down. There could be some kind of investigation on where all of their money is going. So they're literally using tactics that a cult wants you to use. Keep it in the family, keep it in the group. If you have a conflict, deal with it within so that the leaders can manipulate you into taking responsibility for your concern. I made a video just a couple days ago that I'll link right here if I can remember. And it's all about how coercive control is used on a regular basis. Like let's say you did go to them and you did go and say, "Hey, like I'm really concerned. You paired me with a woman. I'm a straight woman. You told me I was now a masculine and I need to come up with a different name or consider coming up with a new gender identity, and that makes me feel uncomfortable." I wonder what the cult leader would say. Would the cult leader potentially say, well, maybe you feel resistant because identifying as a woman is all you've ever known. And you're self-sabotaging because remember that story you told us your very first week about X, Y, and Z trauma you experienced as a young person? Maybe that's what's playing into this. Because I thought you wanted your twin flame. And this is your twin flame, so you need to make the adjustments. You need to heal. Do you think that's what they could potentially say? They're going to gaslight you. They're going to manipulate you. And that's what they're doing in these comments. They're making it seem like this is an open forum. Ask us questions, while also saying nothing that anyone said publicly was either true, and nothing that anyone said publicly was within the context of what actually happened. Really, all of the people that came and spoke out to the documentary are all lying? All of them. You think that the producers at Netflix haven't vetted this to make sure that it's true? Do you really think that they're going to risk putting something on their platform that could get them in legal trouble? Have you mentioned that you're suing for defamation or libel? No, because you can't. Because there is proof in the pudding. There is proof in the videos that we see what you are doing. There is footage of you, Jeff and Shaleia, doing what your victims have said that you have done, and you're still denying it or taking it out of context. So we're going to move on to some more of these posts. Here's what how someone responded to this post. This group teaches how to make a different choice in the plainest of terms and for free too. I did eventually buy the courses, but I got so far with just all the free content they have. It's so wildly good. And the main piece of content, the mirror exercise, which we broke down in my video, is actually incredibly dangerous for you, is the only thing you actually need to completely change your life. Doing the courses or coaching only helps you go deeper with it. I have not been active in the community or with my coaches in years. There has been no excommunication. I have only received love. It's probably because you haven't outwardly said anything negative about the group. I mean, you spent your money, you found your twin flame. Congrats, you can't give them anything else. Their job is done. I only received love. Even when I struggled, everyone was only trying to help me through it, and they were patient, even as I was super triggered and throwing a spiritual tantrum. What was triggering you, though? Was it them? With something that they were trying to coerce you into doing? I have at times projected stuff onto the work, the group, the coaches, the people, etc. When I really worked through the trigger, I realized it was entirely me. And this is what their BS mirror exercise wants all of the members within this group to find and discover and think. Anytime you have a trigger, anytime you have a concern with the group, anytime you have a problem with the group, anytime you get angry with the group, they'll say, go do the mirror exercise. The mirror exercise forces you to take responsibility for all of the feelings that you feel. So instead of saying, this group is making me frustrated, you would say, I am making me frustrated, and I am just projecting it onto the group. Look, I'm all for self-awareness, but if you are being abused by people, you can't be healed by the people that are abusing you. But this is an example of, in my opinion, someone who has been abused and has not been able to see through the abuse because she's all the things she experienced in her time with the Twin Flames universe, all of those experiences that were negative, she's blaming on herself now. You see what I mean? I know this because I've never spoken to Jeff or Shaleia personally. They had no way to lure me into a cult or actively trigger me. But that is why they have the coaching program. Guess who else did this? Nexium. They had a coaching system. There were plenty of members that got too far involved that never or barely ever interacted with Keith Raniere. Here's what I've experienced here. I have studied so many of the teachings and worked with my ascension coaches on and off, and it has helped me heal so much and find genuine peace. What is it helped you heal. The process is life-saving and has made my life amazing. I have healed so much, and honestly, I'm still at the tip of what's possible. There's so much more I want to change about my life, but right now I've been manifesting my babies through 8 years of infertility, and that's heartbreaking, but she thinks that doing this spiritual work is going to help because they've made her help. Like, I hope she's still going to like a medical doctor, you know? Or does she just believe that Jeff and Shaleia and their teachings have the answer for her? And I'm about to have my second in a few weeks. Oh, that's great. Okay, good. I'm happy for her. That healing chapter is soon to be complete, and I'll be ready to take on another room in my house. The reason I have my children and my twin flame, who I'm married to, is because of the healing work I did, period. But was that because you were healing yourself only because of this group? And did they assign your twin flame like they did everybody else? Just because your experience with a group was or has been seemingly positive does not mean that other people have not had a negative experience, and it doesn't mean they're lying. It's like saying like, "Oh, I had a good interaction with Harvey Weinstein that one time, and I thought he was a great guy. He shook my hand." Okay, well, he also harmed a lot of other women. Two things can be true at once, and it doesn't mean that like he's a good guy just cuz he didn't make you his victim. You know what I mean? Why take a break or slow down if it's so good? Because the work is so powerful. When you work with anyone in the group who really knows their stuff, your life changes so fast. They cut through so much of your BS and hiding from yourself, and it can be a lot. I was experiencing that every week or two during my coaching, and my life was rearranging so quickly, and I wanted to go slower. No one stopped me, no one blocked me, no one unfriended me. My choice has been honored perfectly, as have the choices of so many others in the group. And that's wonderful. But again, it doesn't sound like you ever spoke out negatively about the group. The point is not always, well, if you leave, we'll shun you. Sometimes it's if you leave and speak negatively, we will shun you. You have to consider that. And this is what kills me because this is what a lot of these positive testimonies say in the end. They say, "I have not seen any documentaries." So your point of view is biased. It's biased. It's going to be biased. If all you have to lean on is your very personal experience and you're not willing to seek any type of outside information to get any other point of view, that is the problem. You are in the cult. You've been indoctrinated. That's what they want you to say. That's what they want you to do. I don't really know the context of this next bit about Alice Hines, but I wanted to say because I don't want anyone to think I'm like leaving anyone out. I think she's a documentarian. I guess I'll say it just because I don't want anyone to say that I'm like leaving anything out. However, I watched Alex Hines while she was doing the original story, and please look at her body of work even before TFU. To me, she so obviously desires drama and fear, not love. I don't mean to badmouth her. I don't know her either, but she has a clear narrative around her body of work that she wants everything to fit into. Is it perhaps because she's trying to save people from cults? Like, I want to look her up now. But that could be, like, that's my drive. If anyone from this group looked at my YouTube channel, the 17 videos I have now up, they would probably say the same thing about me. Oh, she's just has a negative intention and doesn't act of love. No, I'm posting this content because I do love people and I don't want people to be taken advantage of and manipulated in the way that you so clearly have been. I am also a writer and I pity her so much. I have my life purpose and it's beautiful and loving and helps people. I can't imagine the hell she must be in to have created the body of work that she has. She's probably trying to help people. This is her version of helping people. And if you were able to open your eyes and turn on a documentary or listen to someone else's story, maybe you would be able to open your mind enough to see that. The bottom line is this work is very challenging, very deep, really infinitely deep. And if you are used to living in fear, then you will gravitate towards fear. That is what I believe these documentaries offer. There is no way for Jeff or Shaleia to even respond. They literally cannot help someone stop buying into fear. Well, they were asked to comment and they refused to comment. So you're wrong there. And this seems to always be the cult and the members of the cult's reaction or response. It's, well, they're just fearful. They're just of what? What are we all afraid of? What are we all afraid of? No one's afraid of falling in love. Come on. We're all living in fear. I didn't go research Twin Flames universe. it popped up on my, hey, you might enjoy this type of show because you like documentaries. And I watched it and was fascinated and did some more research and learned, wow, this is a cult, in my opinion. So I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of anyone coming after me. I'm not afraid because this video is all opinion and everything's alleged. So I'm just using things I'm finding on the internet and talking about them. It's all public use. Further, we all know the media is largely focused on clickbait instead of truth, not intentional journalism, and not documentaries. So there's actually no way of the truth about this work or this group could even come out through that distribution channel. That leaves one narrative to be dominant and no way to counter it. No, you're in a cult that only has one narrative, and you're not even open to discovering what could counter it. You just said you're making this entire argument based off of not even watching the opposing point of view's information. This is foolish. This is foolish. But it's like I can't be mad because at the same time, this person is a victim of the cult. And that's what's so frustrating with stuff like this, because part of me wants to get a little snarky and sassy, but then I have to remind myself that like this person is so deeply ingrained in the cult that they cannot see it for themselves yet. So it makes me want to reshoot everything I just shot because it just further supports what I've been saying in all of the videos that I've been making about this group, that it's dangerous, that people this is a perfect example of the cognitive dissonance. This person is so far in, there's no way they're going to climb themselves back out. They've dug themselves a hole. They're in the hole. It makes me need to it's a good reminder because I do need to be more compassionate, because this stuff does make me frustrated because I'm thinking of all the potential victims, and it's important for me and for all of us as we watch everything unfold that we need to have compassion for this people like this person, because they are a victim at the end of the day. They're also a victim. If you're still in the Twin Flames universe, you might be some of the biggest victims in this entire story. Look very simply at what is being presented to you. There's choosing fear or there's choosing love. That is all. Also, the idea that you can have a cult online is ridiculous. Even Hines admitted to being perplexed by this in her own newsletter. There are so many red flags in this logic, as there always is in fear. No, we have broken down how a cult is not location-based. A cult is mind-based. It's internal, okay? And the mind is something that can be transformed in so many ways. And whether you're in person with a leader or online in a Zoom meeting with them, they can still access your brain. They can still change the way you perceive things. And we're seeing the evidence of that right now. And again, I'm going to reference my video I posted Thursday that will be in the description box below, because all of those tactics, almost none of them, there's one tactic that implies that everybody needs to be in the same physical location. Jeff and Shaleia taught me that I could always access the truth so plainly. Just go to God, my source, with zero attachment. I encourage everyone here to do the same. I can see this conversation is frustrating for many. It's because you aren't going to get the truth by trying to make people in this community answer questions a certain way or address something the way you think it should be addressed. Look at what's bothering you about it and clear that, then come back with those questions with clean energy. She's basically saying, yeah, if you have a question and you don't like how it's being answered, like you don't like how vague the answer is, or you feel like your question hasn't been answered, that's a you problem. And maybe you should go like do the mirror exercise for a sec and then come back and be more open to Jeff and Shaleia's bullshit. Jeff and Shaleia have outright stated that they are not even interested in controlling anyone's reality or perception. They are living their lives and working their own upsets. They instead want all of us to go to God. That is the literal foundation of the mirror exercise. You get the truth by going to your source and desiring to see the truth with no attachments or agenda. Hope this helps. Telling other victims of a cult, and especially the cult that you're in, that they're making it up, that's you using another cult tactic against them. You saying that a victim is in charge of their reaction to abuse, that's gaslighting. That is what the cult wants you to do. You are turning into the perpetrator. This is a clear example of how someone transforms from victim into perpetrator. Let's clear that one. We're going to jump to a react or like a response to that big chunk of text. And of course, it's a top contributor, which if you go into the group, most of the comments are from like top contributors or allowed contributors. And most of the comments from people who aren't like top contributors or like group experts were allegedly kicked out of the group. This top contributor says, OMG, that's literally happening because the darkness is purging out, and the darkness, illusion, ego, etc. starts projecting itself all the way when it's met with light. Like Jesus, they literally called him all these names and literally murdered him, and that's because he was so pure light that all darkness comes out. Whoever made this documentary, like mainstream media, is just making a documentary about itself. Everything is a projection. When you look at everything as a projection, then there's zero accountability. When you look at everything as a blessing, there are no red flags. These comments prove to me that the people making the comments, their critical thinking has been turned off, because critical thinking means you have to consider both/all scenarios and all sides of a topic. All that is to be done is see it as it is, a part of the universe that's playing the role of literally strengthening the light. It's still all love. And then she follows that up with, and you can tell the people are acting in the doc. How? I'm an actor, and those people were not acting. I've been acting for over 20 years. Those people were not acting. So let's move on to another question. Someone asked this person, so do they own $1 million home or not? Was all that staged? Were those meetings real? I'm very confused by this post. Someone responded, they live on the members' money. And then he said, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So the members are basically paying these two people to find their twin flame, basically like an arrangement, ... No, we pay for classes that teach you how to manifest your perfect life of love by focusing on a God-centered life, which naturally manifests your twin flame. Does that make sense? Like logical sense? I am totally a spiritual babe. I've got tarot cards right here, oracle cards right next to them. I love witch stories and I want to be a witch. I wish I was. I love astrology. I'm a Gemini. I love to like see synchronicities. I'm very much a spiritual person, but I think things need to be grounded in some type of like real logic or proof. Something that's you can't say something is proof if it's a spiritual thing, right? Like I can look out in the sky and I can see the sun exists. That is proof. I cannot look up in the sky and see a God that is going to put my twin flame at my front door simply because I believe in God. That's not a tangible thing that you can sell. And I think that's what the point this question is trying to make. Like, it basically seems like a matchmaking service. And they're like, no, it's not. We're getting to a vibrational place where you manifest the person that you love, and then it's God's will because we have a church so that we don't have to pay taxes, allegedly. Come on. You can make one payment or pay in increments for a year. You attract them. Nothing is forced. If anyone says, pay me to learn how to attract things, don't pay them. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to manipulate you and exploit you. It's about raising your vibration and attracting your desires, and who better to be sharing this than a twin flame couple who have actually attained it through the process that they share. And someone else responds, and also this person who they're responding to, since they asked this question about Jeff and Shaleia's money, they were allegedly kicked out of the group. This is the first example that we're seeing of that. It's not a top contributor asking a question. It's literally someone being like, hey, here's an actual question I want to ask. This seems kind of exploitative. And they're like, screw you, get out. Or maybe they left. That's why I said allegedly. I don't know. What I can say is that the documentary is taking some of the basic principles we believe in this group and miscommunication them. Well, maybe it's a miscommunication because y'all don't proofread. Sorry. Yes, we do believe that you heal your twin flame. Yes, we do believe that as you heal, your twin flame heals as well, because we believe that twin flames share one consciousness. This does not mean, though, that you are in any way responsible for your twin flame's feelings or vice versa. What we strongly believe in here is that each individual is not only responsible for his or her own choices, feelings, and actions. What we strongly believe in here is that each individual is only responsible for his or her own actions, feelings, and choices. This includes twin flame relationships. As a coach myself, And having worked with my colleagues here, I can say that blaming is not a technique we use in sessions. What we do is support our clients in loving themselves, and if they feel stuck on their journey, helping them discover why that might be and heal. There is no such thing as an ideal that everyone has to meet. We honor everyone's unique, I lost my place, and individual journey as the experiences that come with it, and the experiences that come with that. Yes, we do believe that in a twin flame union, there is one person embodying the divine masculine energy and the other person the divine feminine energy. Personally, trying this on has brought a lot of relief in my life. There are many stereotypes about what is feminine and masculine that were created by society and are not correct. TFU has always encouraged everyone to be their whole and complete authentic self, no matter what it looks like or if it meets stereotypes or not, and regardless of what gender or energy they identify as. Okay, so then why do we have like videos of you guys encouraging people to change their name to sound more male when they've been a self-identifying woman? I mean, to be fair, if you are someone that found this group and you were already maybe questioning your identity and this group kind of gave you that permission that you needed to fully accept that identity, then that's amazing. Like, that's fantastic. I'm not talking about those experiences though. I'm dissecting the coercion that goes into trying to force your own ideal, because what's happening in this group is this. They promised they would find people's twin flames. People started questioning, why haven't I gotten my twin flame yet? Why haven't I gotten my twin flame yet? Because Jeff and Shaleia guaranteed that they would find you your twin flame. Then they said, well, the twin flame can only be someone else who is doing this work, so it has to be someone within the group. And then people within the group looked around and said, well, there's mostly women in this group. So what does that mean? Like, how do we get more men in this group? I want to be. And then Jeff and Shaleia were like, oh, wait. Don't you worry. You have a twin flame in here, but actually you're just not identifying correctly. So you need to identify as a male. So here's your pairing. It's a woman pairing. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. You're actually a divine masculine. So change your name, cut your hair so that you two can be in this divine union together. That's what we're talking about, because it is a monetary, quote unquote, product based business model. They are promising you that if you follow their teachings, you will get your twin flame. They have to have people who are examples of that. They have to have people within the group to show the other people in the group that it's working, because that's the only way people will stay in the group. This is all intentional because it is a monetary business model. It is for profit. Their goal is not to align you or help you grow or help you become more spiritual or help you find your twin flame. Their goal is to make a lot of money. That's their goal. So don't kid yourself. If they wanted to help people, they would be getting their psychology degree. And you know what? Maybe they do really think that this work, that they call it, will help people find their twin flame or attract better. Whatever, that's fine, right? Sometimes you need a mindset coach to just help you feel better about yourself and help you feel more deserving. That's great, whatever. But they are promising something to people that is so intangible, right? That they have to force ideologies onto people and make it other people's fault if their business is failing. If they can't get you a twin flame, if you do their courses and you don't find a twin flame, well, you're not doing enough courses, so buy another one. Well, you're not doing the work, so you need to go deeper and spend more money for more coaching. That's the whole basis of their business model. There's not a true product. That's the biggest problem. They're not psychologists. They can't help you work through your own demons. All they're doing is inventing exercises for you to go do at home and then inviting you to go live on a compound with them. Like, come on. Our coach policy is always updated and improved through an HR system. Okay, most businesses, they just say HR. They don't say HR system. So this makes me wonder if they don't have an official HR, like someone who has a background in HR. And HR is mostly to protect those within the company or organization anyways, not necessarily the consumer. And not even necessarily the employees. It's meant to protect the business itself. The goal is never to put blame on the client, and it's sad to see that these mistakes happen. It is an individual experience from some of the former coaches. We are regularly reviewed through our certification and have a whole branch of HR for client to report anything that feels bad or uncomfortable to them. The goal is to cultivate a safe environment overall. No ideal. Jeff and Shaleia have always encouraged unique, different paths and self-exploration. Okay, and that's most of the same. I know this video is getting long, so I'm like, how much more should I be covering? Okay, so here's a good question someone asks. Is any of this true? Because I just found you and joined. I have not watched it, but my parents are encouraging me, and I don't want this group to seem great so far. And I don't want to. This group seems great so far, a great community. And a group expert responded, "These are accusations from a group of former members in years past that have unfortunately sought to misrepresent Jeff and Shaleia as unquestionable cult leaders by taking discussions about deep spiritual concepts out of their actual context and showing them in the form of individual video clips. We highly suggest you spend time exploring for yourself and coming to your own conclusions." By only using the Twin Flames universe content. Hey, you know the content that we're accused of brainwashing people with? Instead of like watching the documentary that's against us, you should just totally go and watch all of the stuff that we've used to brainwash people and then make your own decision, come to your own conclusion. Give me a break. So this woman asks several very fair, very great questions. And guess what? She was kicked out of the group, allegedly. I have a few questions. 1, are you actually open to addressing objections, concerns, and stories of deep pain expressed in the documentaries? I guess I'll find out based on whether you delete this comment or care to respond to my questions below. 2, have you tried to reach out to ex-members to repair so-called individual issues? Every organization has flaws and areas of unhealth. What are some areas that TFU acknowledges need improvement, and how are you practically tending to them? Words mean very little if there is no action to accompany them. This person's very smart. 3, real people were hurt, and these documentaries could be their only way to express that hurt to you, especially if they were cut off in every other way. Does that mean anything to you? How will you ensure current TFU members aren't hurt in similar ways? No person or group is perfect. Personal growth doesn't happen unless we are able to listen to criticism humbly and take accountability for the ways we have wronged others, even if we didn't mean to cause harm. There are plenty of good-hearted, well-meaning people here, but even good-hearted people hurt others. I'm sure I have been the villain in other people's stories, and I would hope that they would give me the opportunity to repair so we can both heal in the ways we need. I have a lot of other questions, but let's start there. And then several people are like, yes, you hit all of my questions perfectly. And then the moderator says, you may find the media statement helpful, which is what we read at the top of the video, which was vague AF. So this person who asked those questions, very poignant questions, responded. Appreciate the response, but how are they addressed? What is HR's process? Is it posted somewhere for members to access themselves? Additionally, are there checks and balances for Jeff and Shaleia specifically? Anyone that is holding them accountable for their actions, board of directors, overseers, elders, etc., that cannot be fired or excommunicated if they raise concerns about them? Please be real with me about this one, as much of the pain expressed in the documentary is directly with them. And someone responded, of course there is, all that you have listed above. So finally, Jeff actually pipes in. Jeff, the cult leader. And guess what his name is? Jeff Divine. Y'all think that's his real name? The Church of Union is run by and benefits the community and is a non-profit religious organization that nobody owns. It has a board of directors with legal voting rights and several board members, none of which are Shaleia or myself. We do advise the board, but if they decide they don't like our direction or advice, they wouldn't have to listen. They could legally do whatever they want. All my companies and assets are pledged to the COU. It is my life's work. I'm not doing any of this for myself. Yeah, is that why you're driving a freaking yellow Lambo or whatever it is? I'm not doing any of this for myself. I'm doing this to create and extend the spiritual community I desired but never found until we created it. Oh, because you're the big answer to everyone's spiritual question mark, Jeff. It is a collective co-creation where literally everyone has a voice, except when you kick them out of your open forum, right, Jeff? and we all collectively agree upon the direction. Sometimes we try things and most people aren't interested, and it doesn't take root, just like any organization. So we either evolve or let it go or try something else. We're an incredibly innovative organization, reimagining community and organization from the ground up. Most of the issues I see with us are arising from a misunderstanding or simply an unwillingness to explore the actual depth of thought and experience where we actually live. What does that mean? You didn't answer any of her questions. Is there an HR place that like a anywhere online that a member of your community can go to with a concern? You didn't answer any of her questions, dude. So then she responded to both of them. In all due respect, I find the media statement isn't helpful. It's contradictory. It claims TFU welcomes constructive feedback, yet writes off the painful stories of former members as taking swipes against TFU. I found the documentaries to raise a number of good questions and valid points of feedback. Is it only constructive if TFU decides it is? I don't sense genuine compassion, humility, curiosity, and ownership in TFU's response towards real stories of pain and trauma. More than anything, I sense denial and defensiveness. Yeah, me too, girl. This is not love. This is not the path towards spiritual ascension. And Jeff responded, yes, but we're not going to get into arguments or be subject to abuse. You're delusional, Jeff. If someone wants to have sincere dialogue with us, they have to act like a mature human. Also, having a sincere motive helps rather than an agenda. We're all busy doing stuff we each enjoy and are creating the life of our dreams, so we have better things to do than to just get into nonsense arguments with every passing person who has an upset. We have always been open to fully satisfying any sincere questions. She asked extremely clear-cut, concise, professional questions that if anyone was running a legitimate organization, they would not just have to legally answer, but be more than happy to answer so that they could protect themselves legally. But Jeff just says, we're too busy co-creating our lives to answer your questions because they're negative. No, it's because you don't have a real response. You're so desperate to control the narrative that all you're doing is going on the attack. And that's what, guess what? Every cult leader does. Jeff and Shaleia, if you're watching this, your behavior with this exact response is only proving the point that you are cult leaders. That's all it's doing. So do better if you really don't think you two are cult leaders. He continues, we are in a constant state of cultivating healthy relationships with our members. Sometimes in the healing process, one reaches the end of the road where one has no more room to continue to play out their pattern and must choose elsewhere, must choose between continuing their pattern elsewhere or healing it and growing closer to our community and their own personal life of joy. Oh, okay, so either do it our way or like GTFO. Nearly every time the person comes out on the other side victorious and healed, and they feel tremendous relief and expanded freedom in their lives as a result. In extremely rare cases, the person will repeatedly choose not to heal. They will choose shame or guilt or fear or whatever their pattern is, and then they will themselves prefer to keep that pattern instead of the healing we offer. We unconditionally respect the power each person has to choose their reality, and we wish those who prefer not to heal with us all the best on their journey. You're not answering a single GD question, dude. Take off the spiritual hat and you say you're a business owner, okay? You're a business owner, Jeff. Put on your business owner hat for a sec, okay? Just put it on real quick and see if it fits. I don't think it does. It might be a little too big for you. And answer this woman's very clear, concise, professional questions. It's like she asked, what is my salary? And he said, your salary is going to be offered to you bi-weekly, and then you'll get a bonus at the end of the year, and it's going to be based off of how well you do. Okay, but you're offering me a job. What's the salary going to be? Your salary is going to be dependent on the work you do. Well, then I'm not going to frickin' work for you, dude. You know what I'm saying? Answer the question. Stop pussyfooting around it. Twin Flames Universe is a wonderful organization, and as a business, it successfully provides products and services to its clients who get value in tremendous excess of what they pay for. This is all just fluff. That sentence is such a run-on and doesn't fully make sense. Imagine your CFO of your business or your CEO or your, COO didn't respond to your emails. They just got into these long-ass debates with you on the internet. You're like, what are you saying? Tell me you're not a real business owner without telling me you're not a real business owner. I just want to read that sentence again. Twin Flames Universe is a wonderful organization, and as a business, it successfully provides products and services to its clients who get value in tremendous excess of what they pay for. Yeah? Like getting gender reassignment surgery, Jeff? Because they were coerced into it? Cool. Like shunning all their family members? Twin Flames Universe grows organically, and we work on whatever is arising in any given moment to improve our ability to provide value to our clients. Our role is to help people heal their hurt. We do not hurt people. We help people heal by lovingly supporting them to identify the hurt place inside themselves, and then we support them in loving themselves in that hurt place, which ultimately heals their heart. We help them heal themselves, and there's a hurt in their heart, and then they heal. It's like you ask a toddler what happened on the playground and why their friend is blaming them for hurting them, and they're like, "Well, he came over to me, and then I told him to go away, and then he wouldn't go away, and then I said, no, you have to go." And then it's just, what is this sentence? We help people heal their hurt. We do not hurt people. We help people heal by lovingly supporting them to identify the hurt place inside themselves, and then we support them in loving themselves in that hurt place, which ultimately heals their hurt. They are hurting, and we help them, and then they're not hurting, but then we help them, and their hurt is in their heart, and that's where we help them. Come on. If you're going to have a really deep and intimate relationship with your twin flame, you are probably going to need to heal really deep upsets within yourself in order to make room for the powerful transcendental love that flows naturally between you and your twin flame. Oh my gosh, this is such BS. We support people through healing. We do not provide unconditional support to people who do not want healing. That would not only be unsustainable and counterproductive to our organizational aims, it would be literally supporting abuse, which we will never do. Oh, because all the people that question what you do and don't, quote unquote, want healing, they're abusing themselves. Is that what you're saying, Jeff? People feel a really deep closeness and camaraderie in our community because they all share the same underlying purpose of healing. No, it's because they're all sharing their deepest, darkest secrets with each other because you're encouraging them to, and that creates a trauma bond. GTFO. If someone does not share that core value, they will likely not fear our community. If someone does not share that core value, they will likely not feel our community is a perfect place for them, and they will usually leave on their own accord. Thank you for your questions. Feel free to ask me more if you feel so inclined. And then someone else responds to this woman's initial line of questioning and says, I keep being silenced even though my comments are not violating any criteria. That gives you the answer. Oh, and then someone responded to that comment. Probably the comments get caught in our filters. We filter out comments with certain words that are usually signals that someone is just out to abuse us. So like cult probably, or abuse, or any word that could potentially make them look bad. So that's what they're doing. They're saying, hey, welcome to our open forum. Feel free to ask any question you want, except if it's about these things we're being accused of doing, because you're abusing us if you ask a question about that. And if you ask a question we don't like, we are not going to answer it to the full, to our best of our abilities. And if you don't like our answer, then we're just going to kick you out of the group. That's what's happening here. It's a classic cult tactic. What they're doing is they are on the attack now. They have to be on the attack. They have to go on the offensive. So what that looks like is they're going to try to make everyone who spoke out look like they are just hateful and taking things out of context and are just trying to ruin the company. And then they're going to go to the media that covered the documentaries and say they're mainstream media, it's all clickbait, it's all false. And then if you question them, they're going to come up with some type of flowery language that makes them publicly look like they're answering the question. But if you look deeper, they're really not at all. Because if they do actually answer a question, they will have to be held accountable for what they've done, right? Like if Keith Raniere didn't have all those people brand his initials into their pubic region, why couldn't he just come out and say, no, I had absolutely no knowledge of that. And I want to do a full-scale investigation as to who did that. Why can't Jeff and Shaleia say, we have never coerced anyone into changing their identity, and we are going to do a full-scale investigation. We've already reached out to Keely, who was one of the primary characters in the documentary, and we want to work with her. We want to use all of the resources that she's gotten, and we want to take full accountability for whomever did encourage people to change their identity, change their gender. And we want to do a full-scale investigation to see where this was. Because the woman who asked all those questions made a ton of good points. If you are just going to sit there and deny, you only make yourself look more wrong. You only make yourself look more guilty. So why not just say, we acknowledge and recognize that we can make improvements in this, this, and this. Due to the allegations, we are doing a large-scale investigation. You are welcome to anonymously report any wrongdoing you feel like happened. And we are going to have people who are not Jeff and Shaleia analyze all of this report so we can fully investigate and get to the bottom of this. Due to our investigation, we've recognized and acknowledged that these are the areas that we can improve upon. Because no cult leader takes accountability. All you have to do, Jeff and Shaleia, is say, hey, we did make this mistake, and I'm sorry. And things are really misunderstood, and we really wish we could take back. And if anyone needs a refund there, they get it, right? Like, if you don't find your twin flame, and if you've been in the group for X amount of years, you will get a refund. But you're not doing that. You're not taking any accountability. So what now? If you don't want people to call you a cult leader, Jeff, stop acting like a cult leader. Well, I think this might be my longest video yet, and I know I could go on rant after rant after rant. I'm a very long-winded person. That's why more structure and like a script on a teleprompter typically helps me. So thank you for being here with me for this video while I could just react honestly and go off script and rant a little bit. I am incredibly passionate about the work that I do because I don't think there are enough resources out there for people because people still don't treat cults and cult tactics seriously. And I want people to know what to look out for, and I want people to see the red flags and the signs faster so that they don't end up becoming a victim or even becoming a perpetrator of these really, really dangerous groups. Normally, a business, when it receives a ton of pushback or it's exposed for shady business practices, the PR person will try to help the CEO or the owner of the president of that company try to like manage the public distress by putting out a statement that either says they're going to conduct an investigation about the wrongdoings within their company or taking accountability for some of the wrongdoings. They rarely totally, completely deny certain allegations. So you would think that since Jeff and Shaleia of the Twin Flames universe are such great business owners, they would be doing the same thing, right? Wrong, apparently, because every single step that Jeff and Shaleia have taken to try to deny the allegations that have been presented in multiple documentaries, multiple articles, and by multiple ex-members, which I have an ex-member interview coming out this weekend, so please stick around for that. It is fascinating. So when I see some of the posts that Jeff specifically is making, part of me has to laugh at it. And if I do laugh in this video, it's because it's so completely transparent that he is not taking any accountability and he's behaving just like every other cult leader there has ever been. It's fascinating to have someone be so living in such a false reality that they can't take any accountability. They just do exactly what cult leaders do, which is accuse and have ad hominem attacks, which are basically like personal attacks. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he found this video and said something like, well, you're ugly and sad and living in fear and you'll always be alone. Some stupid stuff like that. So I also want to disclaim that everything I share in this video is just my opinion. These are alleged, and I am just commentating on what I am seeing in his self-proclaimed open forum, which anyone is free to go join. And apparently many people have joined. over the last month or so, and a lot of people in the group will say, oh, it's because everyone loves us and the Netflix documentary just made us more famous. No, you're getting trolled, bro. You're getting trolled. If I was still in the group, I would be totally trolling. I would love to just have a roast of Jeff and Shaleia, but the intention of this video is to show you all more proof of how Jeff is operating like a cult leader. We've done a lot of videos on how people get into the cult, what goes on inside the cult, and how to get out of the cult. And we've done a little bit about the leaders, and it's just really ironic to claim that you're not a cult leader when it's like you looked up a book in the library, like how to be the best cult leader, and you're doing everything that it said. Because the first thing cult leaders do when they're caught or accused of misbehavior is to go on the defensive instead of take any accountability. So let's get right into this quite ridiculous post for someone who's been accused of abusing people to make. Jeff says, on wealth and abundance. This is my 2023 Mercedes Maybach. It's sparkling cleaned because it gets detailed every week by my assistant. This week, it goes back to the dealership for snow tires and service. They also put snow tires on my Porsche, even though it's a competing brand, because they really appreciate my business and want to treat me well as a customer. They'll give me another Mercedes to use in the meantime for my convenience. Who cares? Like, great customer service, Mercedes. And also, I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of independent contractors and business owners know this. There is a tax incentive for buying a certain size of a vehicle. Okay, so if you are making a certain amount of money and you purchase a certain size of a vehicle, it can be written off as a business expense. It's this weird loophole. And it's like, well, you can only really afford it if you're making a certain amount of money because these cars can cost $70K, $100K. And it's like, there's no real use of the car, you know? Like, there are certain luxury vehicles that are included in this incentive. And it's like, how is that really supporting your business? But for whatever reason, it's a loophole that a lot of like influencers who are wealthy, creators, independent contractors, business owners in general, they use this loophole to lower their taxable income. And I would not be surprised if this particular vehicle was a part of that incentive, because we know Jeff is always trying to undercut authorities and get a tax break. I mean, that's why he doesn't pay his employees and he just calls them volunteers. He continues. This isn't the exact color and spec we like. It has a fridge for champagne bottles and custom silver champagne flutes, and it doesn't have tray tables in the rear. The dealership treats us well, and following our $1 million home renovation, we may choose to build a custom Maybach to replace this one. I'm not complaining. This is a fine car and an absolute pleasure to own and drive, but when you create a life of prosperity, you get to choose these options for yourself. Oh, okay. I thought it was because you're exploiting people's desires to fall in love, charging them an exorbitant amount of money, continuously telling people that if they don't fall in love, it's their problem, and if they can't heal themselves, they should just keep buying more courses. And then they're like, I love this work, I want to help people, I'll become a coach. And you're like, okay, we're going to take 50% of your profits, but oh, you could also volunteer for us almost 40 hours a week, and we won't pay you at all to help grow our business. And then we're going to find a bunch of tax deductions and build a church so that we can funnel all of our profits through it, allegedly. But you're right, you live in wealth and abundance. Sorry, I forgot. Oops. Money is a very, very simple concept, and despite what some people with poverty mindsets may try to say, there's actually no way around the basic formula. You can't cheat your way to real success. You can't sell a fantasy and build a life on a lie you sell. It will all fall apart because delusions aren't real. You have to create real value for others. That's how you create real wealth and prosperity. This is rich coming from the guy that is literally not really selling a product. He's not doing anything for people that you can't find online for free. And also, he's practicing or attempting to practice certain trauma therapies that he's invented that have no clinical proof that they work, but trying to claim he can heal trauma within one session or a year. That's not how trauma works, dude. This is exactly, he's saying if you don't have something real to offer to people, you won't be successful. What he's saying is, since he's successful obviously he has a lot to offer people. Does that make sense? It's much like, and people will point out in the comments reacting to this particular post, they will come out and say, this sounds a lot like prosperity gospel, which is also basically like connecting God and spirituality to materialism and money. And it's ironic because someone also mentions it sounds a lot like Osho, which I just did a video on him this past week, so you should go check that out. But he says, you have to create real value for others. That's how you create wealth and prosperity. But all you're doing is exploiting people. Like, if you look at the facts and take this fluffy, woo-woo, pretty language, word salad-y language out of it, which are tactics that cult leaders use to diminish the negative impact they're having on other people, you would be able to see that, in my opinion, this is a very, very intentional thing to say. Because he's getting pushback, right, from people having seen the documentary and saying, like, you're a cult leader, you're scamming people, you're not adding real value. This is his way of rejecting all of that and basically putting the blame on other people. Like, if you think that I'm wealthy because I'm exploitative, that's because you have a poverty mindset. Like, get out of here. Most people create value for others by hiring their time out to an employer. The employer pays for their time and ensures that their employees' efforts create more value than their employee costs, thereby creating wealth. It's a cost and a responsibility to have an employee beyond just the paycheck. This in itself creates value for society. Yeah, I'm sure this is what every billionaire CEO says. Oh, well, it's okay if I pay minimum wage and this person can never, ever, ever get to a point of financial success because I'm creating a profit, and that in turn is good for society because I'm employing people. And also, Jeff, take your own advice. Hire some frickin' employees. Your coaches are not W-2 employees, allegedly. They're like 1099 contractors that just like desperately want to give back. Like, give me a break. I notice in our society that if some people feel that if they group together and generate enough anger and hate towards those with wealth, this will help to redistribute the wealth from those who have to those who do not have. While this may sometimes be effective in isolated situations, it is not a worthwhile use of one's creative efforts. Remember, prosperity is created. You create your prosperity vibration. Those who know how to create wealth will create more. Those who do not will never have much for long. Okay, I could get super impassioned and go on a long rant, and I'm stopping myself from doing so because I'm trying to stick to the point. Okay, Erin, stick to the point. This is creating like he is mad that people have been pointing out how dare he flaunt his wealth when he is taking advantage of people and not offering a true proven product. Just because you have testimonials of people that have liked what you've done doesn't mean that they weren't either coerced into providing that testimonial, or that it's going to work for everyone, or that it is worth the money. It's not. It's not worth the money. There is no way that him and his program can find you, your twin flame or soulmate or whatever you call it, because it's an intangible thing, okay? Yes, if you want to go on a healing journey, by all means, we should all be going on a healing journey and looking at ourselves and trying to understand ourselves better. But that alone is not going to get you your partner. And you can't have someone else pick your partner for you. So he's trying to sell that he has the secret to you finding love, and that's his product. He is exploiting people's desires to fall in love. He's preying on people who were born into a certain set of circumstances that might not be able to afford traditional therapy, and he's saying he has the secret weapon or the answer. It's disgusting to me. I used to be very poor. When Shaleia and I met 10 years ago, she was sleeping on a used mattress inside a garage in Sedona. I was living under a tarp in the jungle in Hawaii. We had virtually no money and no opportunity when we began. Now we live a life of prosperity and abundance because we understand the principles of wealth creation. Some people may try to deny the authenticity of our wealth by saying we employ people who work for us for free, but that's not true. You don't employ people who work for you for free. You call people volunteers, and then you expect and demand a certain amount of time that they have to devote to your cause in order to remain in the group. Money is not the only way people can be compensated. In this economy, yes, it is. Much of our teaching is not for sale, and you cannot pay us for it. Then, okay, here's what I don't understand. If you really believe in what you are selling, Jeff, and this isn't a money grab, and you truly believe in this idea that you can attract wealth, and you're not exploiting people by selling these programs, why not just keep posting everything for free on YouTube? You can make a lot of money on YouTube. I have friends that make 6 figures a month off of YouTube. They have millions of subscribers and have been in the game for a while, but you don't have to exploit people to create abundance and make a lot of money. You don't. So if you were really offering something that was so valuable to people and you were attracting the audience that you claim that you're attracting, why couldn't you just post up on YouTube? Why not? Oh, is it because what you say is not actually that valuable and a lot of people might see what you're doing and have a lot of red flags? Is it because you have to sell coaching because people aren't actually being attracted to the stuff that you're putting out there for free? Could that be it? Have you claimed that this is the only way to finding your divine union or whatever you call it, and you're too afraid to let that information out for free because people might not respond to it the way that they would if they had paid for it already? I think there is something psychological about paying for something, and you want to make sure that you use it. You want to make sure that you get the value for what you're paying for. It's like a gym membership or a dance class. Like I take dance classes and I make sure I get to dance as often as I can because I want it to be worth my while. If I didn't have to pay for those classes, I probably wouldn't show up as much. It's an incentive. So people are subconsciously incentivized by paying for this class, especially if they've had to go into debt to pay for classes, which some people have been encouraged to open a credit card and pay for these coachings and these classes to find their lover, and then they go into debt because you're telling them it's what they need when they could find this information online for free, but you're creating so much value and it's like you're serving people so much. If that were true, you wouldn't have to depend on these coachings. You're not providing real value because your YouTube channel, and I get it, I'm a small YouTube channel, but I'm in the beginning. I'm trying to grow my channel, right? Because I want to create awareness about groups like this. But you've been in the game for what, since 2015? And your channel has like 25,000 subs and your views are not that high and you've had to shut off all your comments because you keep saying terrible things and people want to call you out for it and you can't really filter the comments out as easily on YouTube? Is that why you created these courses that you're manipulating people into buying? Give me a break, dude. The highest and best parts, actually, we don't sell for any amount of money. Shaleia and I do coach people regularly for free. Show me. Can I have a coaching for free? Because according to you, I probably am I have a lot of upsets probably. We stopped when sessions reached $1,000 for an hour of my time because it wasn't worth my time. And the amount of money it would cost for it to be worth my time would be well outside the reality for pretty much anyone in our market. Really? From a guy who doesn't have enough free information to share with a YouTube channel or content? I mean, you don't even and I'm not someone that snubs people for not having high follower count, but his point is that he and Shaleia are simply attracting abundance. But if they really were attracting abundance, they wouldn't need to have BS coaching programs where they could con people into giving them that amount of money. Are you kidding me? We decided to create a better opportunity so others of an economic station could afford our higher teaching and personal support in a way that benefits everyone. That is the volunteer system. But they're still working for you. Would you pay them $1,000 for 40 hours of work? It just doesn't feel like an even trade to me. Together we build the kingdom of heaven and all benefit from the abundance generated. This is crazy. We developed complex systems which do a lot of the work and deal making for us to create value in the lives of our clients. It's part of what we teach in Life Purpose class, which you can pay for. Why is that exciting? Oh boy, I get to pay for it? Ooh, shut up. Building pipelines to cultivate multiple streams of passive wealth flows to grow and produce your prosperity on autopilot. You know what else you can grow on autopilot if you just consistently upload for free? YouTube. It's called residual income. Give me a break. All right, here we go. It's why so many people, over 150 now, and with a wait list, are knocking down our door to volunteer. We keep raising requirements for volunteering because it is such an incredibly valuable opportunity. Because you're making it sound like this, like your time is so valuable. And I bet, Jeff, that these volunteers have access to you more than people who are just joining the open forum and kind of like checking it out, right? You probably talk to the volunteers. You probably have weekly, monthly Zoom meetings with the volunteers. You just said you have coachings with the volunteers. So it's just more of you manipulating them. If you are or have been a volunteer for Jeff and Shaleia, I would love to talk to you and get an idea of what that looked like. I would love it. Please email me. Nowhere else can you get the kind of spiritual mentorship that we provide, and it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. Yikes. Wealth is a vibration. Poverty consciousness limits one's mindset, narrows one's thinking, and prevents one from recognizing that wealth is something you can choose to create for yourself. I assure you, I enjoy driving our Mercedes Maybach far more than I did driving our 1998 Saturn, whose exhaust pipe was broken in the engine compartment and which funneled fumes into the cabin anytime we would turn the air vents on. Keep the windows closed and the air on, and you may not survive. One is less supportive than the other. Each had its place in my life journey. I can tell you which one I prefer and which one I recommend. Wealth is a vibration you can choose to cultivate in your life. Every person can become wealthy doing anything their heart calls. No industry or life purpose path is excluded. You can create enormous value in the lives of others through any career modality, but especially scamming people who just want to get married and fall in love. GTFO, Jeff. It will require enormous effort. But I thought you could just attract it. Couldn't you? Isn't that what you teach, though? Is that you can just, like, attract it? But I guess you have to put effort in because you have to take the courses, which cost money, so then you have to put effort. I don't know. It's just, like, getting really cyclical like this for me, Jeff, and I don't know if, like, a true point is being made. Far, far more effort than you may realize. Whatever you think it will take to become extremely wealthy, multiply that by 100, and maybe you're getting the right idea. That's why we provide Life Purpose Class. You can manifest your spiritual fortune on earth, but the way to do that without selling your soul is to live your purpose. Haven't you sold your soul, Jeff? Haven't you sold your soul? Because this is disgusting what you're doing to people. It is the best way to generate the energy necessary to create great prosperity because it is the way that will bring you the most joy and thereby carry you to your life of wealth in the easiest way. We also teach Life Purpose Class because once you come into harmonious union with your twin flame, your path doesn't end there. From there, you build a life together, and a life of purpose will bring you the greatest joy and fulfillment. So this whole post is a way for them to sell you more courses, especially if you've already found your twin flame, or maybe the twin flame concept doesn't resonate with you. He's like, well, we've got something else for you. You can take our Life Purpose course, and it's only $8,888 or however much it costs. That's what he's doing with this, okay? He's simultaneously using flowery language to deny every accusation that is coming his way by saying, well, I'm wealthy. That means I've created value for people. Obviously, I've created a great product that works for people. I'm not a cult leader. I've created a great product for people that they're purchasing. I mean, just look at my Porsche, look at my Mercedes, look at my mansion. And if you want what I have, and you have your twin flame, even better. We have another course for you. Buy it. Buy it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with being wealthy and choosing to create a life of prosperity and abundance. Wealth is created by providing value to others. When you provide value to others, they appreciate you by paying you. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this. It's a beautiful expression of love and appreciation for others. Not when you're making them pay for access to your programs. If it was a pay what you can and someone was like, this was so beneficial. At first I paid $5 for it, but I'm so grateful for all of the stuff that you've shared with me. I want to give you $100. Or this I know is beneficial. I want to gift this to my friend. They can't afford it, but I'm going to give you $500 because I believe so much that what you're doing is incredible. That is not how this is working. That is not the process. I help others create lives of incredible transcendental joy with their twin flame. I know how to help you get to your harmonious twin flame union. I know how to help you live your life of bliss and joy and purpose. Check out the testimonials on our website if you don't believe me. Don't blindly believe what other people tell you, especially when it comes from those who would benefit in some way from your misery. Trust your intuition and think for yourself. Make a decision to honor yourself and explore and try things. They compel you out for yourself. I think he should have proofread this. Jeffrey should have proofread this. Make a decision to honor yourself and explore and try things they compel that. Maybe he means that compel you. Try them out for yourself is what he's trying to say. This is the point where he's like, don't listen to the naysayers. This is what he's saying without saying it, right? Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the negative people that have negative things to say about my group. Try it out for yourself. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're not going to get anywhere listening to the opinions of those who don't have what you desire. Okay, in that case, listen to my opinion. Okay. I randomly showed up to my now fiance's house almost 8 years ago on a random girls' trip to the city he was living in. Okay, I just showed up to his house because the friend I was traveling with knew his roommate. That's how we met. That is pretty wow, amazing, credit to the universe or whatever for guiding us together, right? Incredible. And we were long distance for 4 years. We've been living together for 4 years now. We're getting married, hopefully, next year. So if that is something that you are looking for, if you are looking for a long-term partner, I implore you to listen to my testimonial and my opinion because we have a healthy relationship and we didn't have to pay Jeff to find it, okay? We just had to understand what we were looking for individually, and then he fits all the type of person, he fits everything I've ever wanted, and I discover more and more of those qualities every single day because it cannot be defined. Attraction cannot be defined. It's something that cannot barely even be explained. So if you're going to listen to someone's opinion, please listen to mine because my opinion is that Jeff is full of okay? And you do not need to pay for his courses in order to find your partner. You just don't. You don't. Put yourself out there and trust that the right person will come into your life. You don't need to force it. It shouldn't feel hard. It should feel simple and easy. And yes, there were obstacles with me and my fiance's relationship, but we overcame them because we love each other. It wasn't argumentative, it wasn't toxic, it wasn't dangerous. He wasn't with someone else, I wasn't with someone else. But the challenges that were distance, and we overcame that because we trusted that if we were meant to be together, we would. And I'm not saying that's exactly how it's going to be for you, but I'm saying you just don't need to pay for a course like this. You just don't. Whether you believe in twin flames or soulmates or whatever, you don't need to pay someone like Jeff to tell you how to find your twin flame or tell you who your twin flame is. You just don't need it. So then he followed it up with a picture of his vehicle, which I'm not going to share just because I don't want to be doxing or accused of doxing. I'm just hopefully I'll trust that that's what he did, okay? And someone responded, "You are rich only because of all the people you fooled." And Jeff responded, "Thinking like this does," he says, sorry, he's full of typos, y'all. "Thinking like this would not create prosperity in your life. Is that not an important goal for you?" So what he's saying is, you thinking that I'm fooling people to get wealthy is only making you poor. Get out of here. This person responded, "Jeff, prosperity is one of my great goals in life, but not only economic prosperity. I hope that right now you pay fair enough wages to all the people who work for you. Equity is also a sign of prosperity." And Jeff responds, "All my agreements with others are generous. Generosity creates prosperity." How are you generous? What are you providing them? you're driving around in a Porsche and have multiple cars when there are people who are like literally starving and you're convincing them to buy your course, allegedly? Come on. Shaleia responds, of course she does, because this is all a concerted effort by the both of them to like make them both sound not guilty, right? I remember barely surviving, making around $1,000 a month for most of my adult life, but I was never jealous of others who were more fortunate than me. Rather, I would choose to be happy for them and rejoice in their victory. I'd also allow it to be an opportunity to inspire me in my life. My spiritual mentor told me that we all create our own lives. If I see something in her life I like, then go and create it for myself. Never covet the blessings of others. Instead, focus on my dreams. And I did. It was very powerful and life-changing advice because it's true. I desire everyone to manifest their dreams coming true, their heaven on earth. I know if I can do it, then so can anyone. Just never give up on yourself. That's the only requirement. Shaleia says, someone responds to Shaleia and says, happy for your family, Shaleia. Someday fate will bring me to your courses or talks because I certainly can't afford your time right now. However, I value it. Someone responds, girl, you know you can manifest on your own for free, right? You can get anything you want by positively manifesting and speaking it into existence as if you already have it. And Jeff responds to her and says, you can, but why when you can get the support from a professional? This lady's like, hey, like, if you believe in law of attraction, like, you can do this by yourself. Jeff is like, but why? I'm a professional. You're a professional? You're a professional at a spiritual concept? You can't prove that. You can't. What you can prove is that you've taken advantage of and conned a bunch of people. That's what you can do, in my opinion. Someone responds and says, I really hope Netflix gets a hold of this post. Kick me out. I don't really care. This is disgusting considering all the people who are starving and homeless. You need a harsh reality check, my dude. Jeff responds, is there something about this post that you find upsetting? I don't know why I'm trying to like think about why he is responding with these strange questions. I don't know if it's for engagement. I think it's a manipulation tactic. Like, asking her that question when she is clearly already upset is only going to fuel her fire more and make her appear more out there than when other people see it, if that makes sense. So he's responding to her and she's clearly upset. He's saying, is there something about this that's upsetting you? That's going to make her be like, what the heck is wrong with you? Yeah, I'm upset about this, and this. And then he's able to respond, wow, you just are unhealed. And everyone in the group can see that you're unhealed. It's like he's almost like, I don't want to say gaslighting her in a way, but he's like trying to maintain the narrative because he does that with multiple people's posts. Someone else responds, Jeff, you're a con artist. That's what's upsetting. And someone else responds to her, and not even a humble one at that. And Jeff eventually responds, you can't get sick enough to make sick people better. Being poor would not help people in poverty. She's not saying you need to be poor. She's saying like, hey, I know you're a millionaire and you have a Porsche and a mansion and another car and whatever, but like, wouldn't it be cool if you like used your wealth towards something that helps other people? Like helping people in need or like volunteering at a food bank or like donating to children in need, you know? My post touches on this, and also we're helping people out of poverty consciousness just as we rose out of it ourselves, so I don't follow your logic here. He's just trying to get her to like look stupid for everybody else in the group that is still like on Team Jeff, you know? Someone asks, Jeff, do you donate your millions of wealth to those less fortunate? Because that would actually help. Or, you know, pay your staff. That would certainly help them. And he responds to her, no offense, but I'm not sure you're qualified to be giving me financial advice. And Jeff, you're not qualified to be healing people's trauma or assigning wives and husbands to people or telling people that they're actually supposed to be divine masculine or divine feminine and hinting that in order for them to fall in love, they need to change literally everything about themselves. You are disgusting, in my opinion. Someone responds, Yikes, the first two paragraphs are very cringy. Be humble. This is just gross. Poor guy has to use a different Mercedes while his Porsche gets new tires. Boo-hoo. And only $1 million renovation? That's rough, man. Must be hard living off the money others have given to you for some crack course on absolutely nothing. And he responds to her, I'm not sure my clients would agree with you. You don't need everyone in the world to love what you offer in order to help others. Just one person is enough. Start with yourself. So someone, I don't know if this is a troll or someone like genuinely asking, but someone responds to Jeff and says, hey man, how do I send you a friend request? And Jeff responds, why? And this person goes, because you're famous and it would be badass to have a famous person on my friends list. So selfish reasons. Also, you're an entrepreneur, so I'm guessing you make insightful posts. And Jeff responds, thank you, I sent you a friend request. Like, that's all it takes. This guy just needs you to stroke his ego like that much. And he's like, you are in my circle. Yikes. Someone responded, your teachings on twin flames are not authentic and true. You have made up most, if not all, of these lies to manipulate the members. Most, if not all, of your members are going through trying times, but then again, isn't that what you prey on? Oh, sorry, she meant to say, isn't that why you prey on the weak? Shame on you. Oh, and shave. My dear, you are not Jesus. You are just a boy. Harm none or it will come back to you. He responds, there's a lot going on here, Denise. Would you care to explain this then? And he shares the testimonials. Like, I just don't trust that those testimonials are true. I mean, he has so much control over these people that have had success stories at this point. It would not surprise me if they were kind of coerced into providing them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't buy it. Someone responds, this is yucky. Jeff responds, sorry, what about it specifically do you find yucky? I find everything about this post to be in excellent order. I'm sure you do, Jeff. I'm sure you do, because you just can't see that you could ever potentially be in the wrong. And guess who else doesn't think that they're in the wrong? Every single cult leader that has ever existed. Someone responds, poor taste. We are in a cost of living crisis and you are boasting about the wealth you have acquired from charging people a fortune and allowing people to work for free while calling it volunteering. Pay people for their time and effort with actual money so they can afford to live. Agreed. And I really want to make a video about the MLM cult connection. I'm working on a collaboration. Well, I need to reach out to her. I really hope she wants to collaborate. But someone responds and says MLM vibe, which I agree. And Jeff responds, while this is not an MLM and none of our organizations are, I'm not sure there's anything wrong with an MLM organization. Could you explain to me what you feel an MLM is? There is no need to explain what she feels an MLM is, because you can just go to the FTC website and it will outline to you why they're dangerous and predatory. Just like something else, the Twin Flames universe. Give me a break. Someone responds, wow, you are making yourself out to be the money-hungry guy from the Netflix documentary. This confirms it for me now. And he says, I'm not sure anything I can say or do will change your opinion of me. Is there something you feel I should be seeking to change? Like, what? And she responds, I feel that flaunting your expensive cars and obvious wealth makes you out to be more interested in wealth than people. If you truly want to help people reach a spirituality and or be with their spiritual partner, why would you post pictures of materialistic means? Do you donate money to charity? Do you see how many people are homeless? Do you see other parents that are living in broke down cars? And I can't see the rest of her response, but then she responds again and says, since my response was removed by an administrator, I will ask it again. Do you use any of your income to donate to charities instead of having multiple expensive cars? Would you donate money to a homeless shelter? Donate to those in need? Donate to parents whom are struggling to make ends meet and are living in their cars that barely even run? I think being in the powerful position you're in, you would benefit from helping others financially as well as in your coaching. And Jeff responds, in true Jeff fashion, What we do here is far more valuable for society than any charity I've encountered so far. It's better for humanity to invest our wealth into our systems than to give it to someone else. That being said, Shaleia does dabble with charities from time to time, donating every year to multiple charities. The thought system I'm offering here is one of expanding wealth and prosperity for all. I am careful not to disempower people by creating dependency. I want to support each person in learning to create prosperity for themselves. This is what our work teaches. And someone responds, man, that's a long-winded no. It's literally like if your parents like kicked you out of the house right when you were 18 and they were like, this is how I'm teaching you how to survive. And the person's like, I have no money and nowhere to live and I'm going to college and I don't have time for a job. Like, how are you helping me? So this is why I think he's actually asking questions to people that respond negatively to this post, which I should mention, and I'm surprised I haven't thought to mention this yet. Most responses to this post were negative, and most reactions to the post were negative. So I think that the group is being so infiltrated with like trolls or just people who are curious that most people are reacting negatively, because then all of a sudden it'll be like heart reactions from multiple people. And it's like, obviously these are either like your admins or your top contributors, so people that you're probably like your volunteers or your other coaches, and you're like, oh my gosh, you need to go like this post, you need to go heart this post, you need to go support this post, because most of the responses are negative. Someone responds, this is the most disgusting post, shame on you. Jeff responds, can you be more specific? There's a lot going on in this post, and to wholesale say it's disgusting seems rather limiting. For example, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being wealthy. So you think it's disgusting for me to say this, and you believe wealth is disgusting, and all people who have it are disgusting, and everyone who should live in abject poverty? This is the classic, like, narcissistic way to respond to something. You, like, pick away at a response instead of, like, recognizing, like, look, I'm sorry if something I said made you feel that way, but this is genuinely how I would have more respect for Jeff if he was like, look, I respect that you feel this way, but this is what I believe, and I'm really like sorry if it doesn't resonate with you, or something similar. I don't know. I don't even know if I could find respect for Jeff at this point. And then he responds to himself and says, looks like she left. I would not be surprised if she did not leave and she was kicked out. So I think that's why he started like responding to people and asking those weird questions, because he was able to then say, like, he would prompt them to respond, kick them out of the group, and then respond to himself saying, I guess they left. I guess they left. They didn't leave, Jeff. You kicked them out because they questioned you. In my opinion, allegedly. Someone responds, brags for several paragraphs, provides an ableist and unrealistic view of wealth, fails to acknowledge anybody who helped generate free labor in order to gain this level of wealth, and then tries to sell a class. Mind blown. He responds, the way you just ignored everything I said for your own narrative was special. Thanks for that. I had a mini lull. She goes, I don't know what a mini lull is, but you're welcome. She goes, it's like a little toot. See, he's not able to acknowledge that any of her points were actually incredibly valid. So instead he has to like insult her and be like, wow, you really didn't like pay attention to my whole post. You ignored a lot of what I said, and it was just laughable. And she's like, no, I'm making extremely valid points. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Approaching the matter in this way is not serving you and your organization. Going on the attack in this way is not making you look any more reputable. It is actually making you look more like a cult leader. If you're going to deny, and like, you can't claim, here's the thing. He can't claim realistically that every single accusation that has been made against him, Shaleia, his coaches, and his organization as a whole, he cannot claim that they are all false. What do these people, these victims, have to gain from showing their face on a Netflix special or an Amazon Prime special that will have millions of eyes on them, where they're vulnerable, where they're admitting to wrongdoing, where they're sharing extremely vulnerable parts of themselves. What do they have to gain by lying about it? What do they have to gain? They're already experiencing public shame, scrutiny, people making fun of them, people questioning their reality, and of course, a ton of support. What do they stand to gain? I have someone coming on my channel this week, and they are speaking anonymously about their experience being in this group because they don't want any pushback. What does this person have to gain from coming out publicly about their experience? Absolutely nothing. What does Jeff have to lose when all of these people are making accusatory statements about him that could bring his whole business crumbling to the ground? Oh, I don't know, his Porsche, his Mercedes, his $1 million home, his company as a whole. He has a lot to lose. And instead of trying to say, look, I respect that people had a negative experience. I want to understand how I can genuinely make it a better one for my future clients. He can't say that. He can't say that because now it's at the point where legally he would have to be held accountable for the things that he did. I mean, he could be sued. There could be legal backlash to what he's done. There could be. So if he were to make any statements that positively identify himself as a perpetrator of at least some of these allegations, that would imply that all of the allegations are true. So instead of taking any type of accountability or saying we are going to have an investigation, or I am sorry I misled people with my statement, I should have been more clear, or I did not realize the scope of what my words, I did not realize the deep impact my words were having on certain people to the point that they changed their gender, or changed how they identify, or isolated themselves from their family. All he's done is deny the allegations and then go on the attack and basically say that anyone who has an opposing position against what he's doing is wrong, fearful, sad, living in fear, all of the classic jargon that a cult leader would use to create an us versus them mentality, because that's what he's doing. Because he doesn't want people in his group to go watch the documentary. He doesn't want people in his group to find a video like this. He doesn't want people in his group to turn against him suddenly. He has too much to lose. The victims who have allegations against him, there's no real gain for them because they could face legal action. They could face so many negative experiences. So what do they have to gain by coming out publicly with their story? And the thing is, too, if you're discouraging members of your group to not seek out other information, you are essentially controlling the information that they have access to. He should be telling everyone in his group, hey, everyone, these documentaries have come out. We are trying to investigate where the misunderstanding happened. I am trying to understand how I can improve the way I communicate so that things are not misunderstood. If you watch the Netflix documentary and you have feedback for me or you have questions, please come. Let's do an actual open forum where he sits down and openly asks questions and he does not shy away from the negative questions. That's how a responsible business owner or someone who is not guilty would be responding to this. But he is refusing to do that. He would rather fight and attack than actually take accountability, because it is my belief that him and people like him are incapable of taking any true accountability. So I know this video is getting extremely long, and I'm grateful if you've stayed here the entire time. And I know I can get a little snarky towards Jeff, and I don't want that to minimize the point I'm trying to make. Because the point I'm trying to make is this person is not capable, in my opinion, of taking any ownership and accountability, or even risking his business and his reputation to do the responsible thing. And the responsible thing would be to take at least some accountability. But he can't do that because his business is vulnerable. So he is lashing out and trying to, without outwardly saying, I am against these people, he's using word salads and flowery. A word salad, if you don't know, is just when they say a lot of fluff without actually making a real point. That's what that post was. A whole lot of fluff, no real point, and he's doing that so that he doesn't outwardly come out and say, this Netflix documentary, Escaping Twin Flames, is completely false. This Prime Video documentary, Desperately Seeking Soulmates, is completely false. He can't come out and say any of that because then people would probably go watch that media, right? And he's so afraid to say there were allegations made. We are doing an investigation. I'm taking business coaching to understand how I can more clearly communicate. He can't admit to any of that because now there are so many allegations that admitting to one is admitting to them all. That's what I think. I want to know what you guys think. I really appreciate your support on this channel. I promise you I have other videos and other topics I want to address, but so much keeps coming out. And just like Osho, it's so easy to forget the damage that was done to people over time. And when we first looked up, when you would first Google Twin Flames Universe, back when the documentaries were first being released, it was all about the problematic things that were exposed in the documentary. And now, more recently, if you search it online, it just pops right back to Twin Flames Universe. And the thing is, Jeff is at the level where he does have the necessary means to probably pay to get his ad for his website to be on top of all of the like negative commentary on the internet right now. And so if we stop talking about it, if we stop trying to expose the damage that is being done or trying to be hidden, we'll forget all about this and more people will fall for this scam. So let's get into today's video. Recently on my channel, we've been discussing the Twin Flames universe almost exhaustively, and we've been exploring cult leaders and the tactics they're using to gain followers. I've been reading several comments from viewers about Twin Flames themselves, what they are, and whether the concept is real or more spiritual, and it got me wondering, where did this concept of twin flames really even come from, and why is it such a popular topic in the New Age spiritual community? And why are so many people effectively exploiting this concept and trying to sell the idea that they have the secret to you finding your twin flame? So, needless to say, I went down a rabbit hole. And now I've shared this before that I am a very spiritual person. I don't really define myself to align with any one religion, but what resonates most with me is like the planets and how the energy in the moon and the planets affects us on like an energetic level, how it changes our collective energy. And I dabble with tarot and other mystical practices, and some people will comment, well, those things are demonic. I personally don't believe that, but if you do, totally, I respect. I wouldn't be an anti-cult channel if I tried to police anyone's point of view. So I just ask that as we move on in this video, I always promote healthy and respectful debate, but let's please keep everything polite in the comments because I'm sure this topic could trigger some people, and that's not what my intention is. But I do just ask that if you do want to comment or respond to someone else's comment, just be very respectful. So let's just keep it fun and positive in the comments, okay? I really love learning about different cultures around the world and their beliefs, so I just want to make that clear. I am not promoting any ideology or religion, but I'm exploring several as they pertain to twin flames to try to understand why there seems to be such a mass obsession with not just falling in love with anybody, but like finding your twin flame. And I was surprised to find that there has been evidence of this twin flame concept in several different religions. And to be honest, I always thought that a twin flame was like a difficult, toxic love. So I started seeing how popular it had become, and I just thought like, oh, it's just like another word for soulmate. But my research has shown me that it's actually a whole lot deeper than that. So what exactly is a twin flame as we know it today? Is it just another word for soulmate? The answer to that question is a resounding no. So a soulmate is socially and like worldly described or defined as something that is, especially according to New Age teachings, someone you can have several of. So you can have several soulmates in one lifetime. There's someone, whether it's a friend or a romantic partner or even a family member, who you feel a deep, unspoken connection with. It's like a kindred connection, as if your two souls separately know each other. There's a belief in some religions and cultures that two souls may have met multiple times over multiple lives in multiple forms. A twin flame, however, is the other half of your soul, as if you had been split in two. Some believe that it's a life mission to find your other half, that once you've found it, you'll be connected forever. People who subscribe to the belief that they have a twin flame believe that it's destined, that once you've met your twin flame, no matter who it is or what their sets of circumstances are, whether they're married or want absolutely nothing to do with you, well, none of that matters because they are destined to be yours. And this is the part of the concept that, in my opinion, why it's such a dangerous thing to believe in. A twin flame, especially if it's a destined relationship, would be very difficult to pinpoint and recognize in the physical world. It's also believed among New Age practitioners that your twin flame might not recognize you as a twin flame here in the physical world, but in the spiritual realm, the spiritual world, they do recognize you as their twin flame. They just haven't caught up to you yet in the physical world. So you have to like trying to get them to believe that you're their twin flame. They also believe that lovemaking can occur in the spiritual world between two flames. So, yes, this is a very romantic concept. We all want to find our other half. And when it comes to something so undefinable as love, I think it's human nature to want to have a tangible definition of what love is. And for some people, the ultimate love can only be found with your twin flame. So, how do you know when you've met your twin flame? Well, according to my research, multiple sources all said the same, kind of similar, and honestly kind of generic things. Things that you feel when you're simply attracted to someone, in my opinion. So, a feeling of instant connection, a feeling like you already know them, and elation or ecstasy when you're near them, a deep, intense lust for them. You might be very similar to this person. You just feel naturally drawn to them. And then once perhaps you have made a connection, that relationship is really intense, sometimes wrought with drama, and then there's a disconnection between you and your twin flame, and then a reconnection, and the list just goes on and on. And I mean, honestly, I've had so many of these experiences with so many people I've like had a crush on, or even when I was in a really toxic on again, off again relationship. So to me, this just kind of sounds like basic dating. Like if I thought some of the people I've been interested in or even dated were my twin flame and I was still pursuing them, I would be in an absolutely miserable relationship at this point. And it seems to me that the way twin flame sounds in this context, it just feels toxic, but it's still touted as this like divine, intangible thing that's destined to be and is super desirable. But how do you know for sure that you found your twin flame? If the relationship feels so natural at first, but then there's this constant push and pull, how would I know to keep investing time into this relationship? Or what if I have an intense crush on someone, but they aren't reciprocating? How do I know this person is my twin flame? Well, that's where online social media spiritual gurus come in, because it's not just Jeff and Shaleia from Twin Flames Universe. No, no, no. There is a treasure trove of people claiming to be able to tell you or confirm for you who your twin flame is. And honestly, it just sounds like a scam to me. Believe in twin flames all you want. That's not for me to decide. But please do not pay anyone to tell you who your twin flame might be or assign you to a partner just because they say they can. In my opinion, you just need to date people, connect with them, and be honest with the person about who you are and what you're looking for. And just always listen to your gut. If there's a red flag flying, listen to your intuition and your gut. That's all it takes. Twin flames isn't just a concept found in New Age spirituality. But actually, the earliest mention of twin flames that I could find was in the ancient Egyptian spiritual text called the Book of the Dead. It centers around a goddess named Isis and a god named Osiris. Isis and Osiris were considered a power couple in ancient Egypt, but one day Osiris's jealous brother Set killed and dismembered him. And Iris was completely devoted to Osiris. So she traveled far and wide to find Osiris and his body parts so she could use magic to put him back together. In this story, Iris represented the divine feminine and Osiris the divine masculine. The story even says that Iris shaped a golden phallus for Osiris so that they could procreate. And it's interesting to me too, because we've seen a lot of this feminine versus masculine theme with Jeff and Shaleia when they've especially been trying to assign twin flames to people. This is the concept that comes in where they're encouraging people to get gender reassignment surgery or change their name, change how they look, change how they move, because, well, you're actually divine masculine and you can't have feminine and feminine partnerships. You have to have masculine and feminine connection. So I find it interesting that, like, in the case of Jeff and Shaleia, it seems that they are really taking these spiritual concepts and religious phrases and beliefs and really exploiting them and twisting them into a thing that makes it justify what they're doing, if that makes sense. The next ancient reference I could find about twin flames was Plato discussing it in terms of Greek mythology. According to his piece of work called Symposium, he theorizes that twin flames actually used to be one soul, one body with 2 heads, 4 arms, and 4 legs. Here's what a Medium article shared about from Plato's Symposium, and they kind of go on to explain it a little bit. Quote, "Many years ago, there were not 2, but 3 types of beings, man, woman, and a mixture of the 2. Humans were different in appearance and form. They had 4 arms and 4 legs. They were round, their backs forming a circle, and had 1 head with 2 faces on each side. Having twice the limbs and features we have nowadays made these beings twice as fast and twice as strong. This also allowed them to be more headstrong and confident, even going so far as to believe they could take on the gods." But hey, let's be honest, you don't need 4 legs and 4 arms to do that, as we've seen in Jeff. Anyways, when they eventually made their way up to heaven, the gods debated what to do with them. They could not erase their kind, for the sacrifices people made would have been futile. However, they also could not let them continue their pursuit. Therefore, Zeus decided to cut them in half. By doing so, they would become weaker and more useful to the gods, because now there would be twice as many beings to make sacrifices to them. After humans were cut in half, Apollo turned their heads so they could see what had been done to them. Then he healed them while leaving a few reminders on the body of what they are missing. This was done to keep their behavior in check. Consequently, humans have been seeking the other half ever since, clinging to each other to fill the gap they now experience. Zeus then made it possible for them to conceive of posterity by putting their genitals on the front side of their body. According to this tale, captured by Plato in his Symposium, this is where love towards other human beings originated. It is a way of trying to make 1 out of 2, to restore itself to its original state. Every one of us is then looking for our other half, our missing piece. When a person finds their other half, they will be overwhelmed with feelings of friendship, trust, and love, and the need to be with each other at all times. When one would ask these people then what they expect from each other, they would not be able to answer. It is not merely about sexual contact or desire. That is not what one would dedicate everything to. The soul simply feels a need for the other person inexplicably. This desire to pursue one's missing half is referred to as love. And a famous quote from Plato says, "Love is born into every human being. It calls back the halves of our original nature together. It tries to make 1 out of 2 and heal the wound of human nature." Unquote. Next, we'll consider a Vedic text called the Shiva Purana. Twin flames are described in this similarly as two beings that are from one soul that are born in different places. They must find each other, but if they don't before one of them dies, they will be doomed to be reborn again. And once again, they have the same task to find their twin flame. If they don't, the cycle continues on and on over multiple lifetimes. Similarly, the Hindu text Mahabharata shares that finding your twin flame is a journey that can occur over multiple lives, but only once you hit the age of 20 in your current life. So that's a little new. At least you have to be like a consenting adult. It's a little more forgiving too, because if you miss out in this life, you get another chance the next time. Now, in the Bible, it is believed by some that Mother Mary represents the feminine side of the twin flame connection and Jesus the masculine side. Other Christian based religions have twin flame symbolism as well, but one flame is like the physical world, like God's creation of earth and everything living on it, and the other flame might be the spiritual side, being God Himself. I guess it really just depends on how you define it. And as for the occult connection with twin flames, because I've seen some comments state that the twin flame concept is demonic and of the occult, the source that I read actually stated that twin flames isn't necessarily even a love connection, but when it is, the intercourse is intense and tantric. But most commonly, it's not found in romantic connections, but rather in friendships and familial relationships where there's a feeling of ultimate comfort. And this is where it kind of reminds me of like the soulmate concept. So, with this idea, there's no need to break up a current relationship that's already existing. You can be great friends with your twin flame and have that deep soul connection on a platonic level. So, we see this spiritual symbolism of twin flames across several religions, belief systems, and in many iterations. But which one is most true and accurate? But I'll go ahead and share my thoughts and opinions in case you're curious. Based off of all the information we currently have, especially as it pertains to the Twin Flames universe, Twin Flames is, in my opinion, purely a spiritual concept, something you can choose to believe in or choose not to believe in. For me personally, the concept just doesn't resonate, and I want to explain a little bit more as to why. I believe that the concept of twin flames sets us up for an unrealistic idea of what love is and what it can be. I believe it also promotes toxic relationships because it's almost like you need to obsess over one person. It's really difficult to explain what love feels like, and it's difficult to explain what infatuation or lust feels like. And love, infatuation, and lust are all kind of different feelings, in my opinion. You know, if I, before I was with my fiance, we've been together for a long time, but I think back to moments where I was crushing on somebody, and it is such a fun, exciting, intense, anxiety inducing feeling because you're like, it's that fun feeling of, do they like me? I like them. Do they like me? Are we flirting? Are we not flirting? It can be so fun and it can feel so big. And I can't help but think that, like, if I had had a crush on someone, when I've had crushes on people, and it's been unreciprocated, and I kept pushing for it, I would be embarrassed. Like, that's really embarrassing for me. I think back to one instance where I really thought I was in an on again, off again, something that would sound like to me at the time when I was younger, a twin flame connection, because there was a big connection, and then it was like we were together and then we weren't. We were together and then we weren't. And it just felt like there was so much challenge in the relationship. But if I followed twin flame ideology, I might think that this is meant to be. But from a grounded place, when I look back at that relationship, I'm like, that was not healthy. And I look back at my behavior that I thought was just fighting for this relationship by mailing letters and doing cringy things like that I'm even embarrassed to admit right now. That would be considered acceptable in the twin flame universe, you know? And also, when it comes to twin flame connections being assigned, you're taking away that beautiful, honest, true, exciting feeling that is honestly so hard to come by, and it's difficult to maintain over a long-term relationship. And I think when one relationship doesn't work out, it's important to grieve that ending and move on to a potential new partner. And with the twin flames ideology, as it's being promoted by a lot of spiritual gurus and Jeff and Shaleia, there's not really an opportunity to find new love. It feels like it has to be a certain type of love that honestly sounds the way I would describe a toxic relationship today. And the thing is, like, if twin flames resonates with you, if you believe in as like you have a missing piece somewhere out there, by all means, go out there and find your twin flame, but do it in an ethical way that's not violating anyone else's boundaries. And don't listen to some type of this isn't even about Jeff and Shaleia anymore. Don't listen to any online spiritual self-proclaimed guru that claims they're going to be able to help you get to your twin flame. They're not. They're not. They're trying to scam you. They have found a popular topic in the dating industry, which is one of the most popular industries you could ever be in. They've found a way to monetize it, and then they're exploiting it and making it sound like they have a secret recipe. And sometimes that recipe does look like healing yourself so that you can find someone. Honestly, for me, what it is not you changing anything about yourself, but you taking time to understand things about yourself so that you understand the type of partner that you're looking for. This is a very individual experience. What you like is not going to be what Jeff or Shaleia likes. What you like is not going to be what the Alpha Male podcast is promoting. You might want a really 50-50 dynamic, or you might want to be a stay-at-home mother and find a man who's going to do all of the financial providing for you. Whatever it is, it's a personal choice. It's a personal experience, and no one else can tell you who you feel a connection with. And so I implore you that if twin flames as a concept does resonate with you, and maybe you do find someone who believes in the same concept as you, magic, right? That's so magical. Like me and my fiance, we met in such a random way, and then we were long distance for 4 years, and now we're together, and we look back and we do both feel like it feels like something bigger than us brought us to each other. And he's not just my person who I love, he's my best friend too. And there were challenges throughout the relationship. We were long distance, like that's hard as it is. And we moved in together, and that was challenging too, just because it was so different. We faced challenges too. So I guess you could argue that he is my twin flame, but still it could be the connotation for me is different because of Twin Flames universe with Jeff and Shaleia, but it's never super resonated with me. But again, if it resonates with you, that's fantastic. Just be careful who you listen to for advice, and please do not pay anyone to help you find your twin flame. In my opinion, it's not a real, tangible thing that someone else can do for you. It's a spiritual concept that you either resonate with or you don't. Because honestly, what's the difference between your twin flame and your future husband or wife? The one. Right? That's what you're really looking for. You're looking for a partnership. You're looking for the one. Don't put so much pressure on your relationship to be the twin flame. What if it's just a great, fun, healthy, positive relationship with someone you love being around? That should be enough. So with all of that, I want to say thank you all so much for watching my channel, supporting my channel. I hope something resonated with you in this video today. I have a lot of really cool things coming up that I'm really excited for. So please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to have some special guests coming on my channel soon. And remember, Kirsten's Amazon wish list is down in the pinned comment down below, along with a link to get her whole story. So thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm so grateful to be here and that you're here with me. And remember to keep it respectful in the comments down below. I appreciate you all so much. Have a wonderful week. Bye.